The blood-red pillar of light shot into the sky as I stepped out of the stone gate. 1 step, 2 steps. The light faded, and everyone in the canyon could finally see my face. Not some old man, not some middle-aged woman. Just me, a 17-year-old kid from Dragon City War Academy. The canyon went dead silent for about 3 seconds. Then it exploded. Holy shit, it's him. The hero who cleared the rift is Su Lin, the divine-level awakener. The one the Su family put a bounty on. Reporters lost their minds, shoving forward with cameras flashing like a thunderstorm. Military guys held them back, but barely. Su Lin, say something. How did you clear it? I didn't answer any of them. I looked up, straight to the top of the cliff. There he was, Su Lin, my father, standing up there with his hands behind his back, smiling down at me like I was a bird in a cage. Su Lin, his voice boomed through the canyon like thunder. You've been hard to find. 20 black-clothed fighters leaped off the cliff like hawks and landed around me. Every single one above level 70. Every single one armed. Every single one looking at me like I was already dead. A military officer stepped forward. General Zheng Taizhan, level 80, square jaw, thick eyebrows. He planted himself between me and Su Jintian's people. You want to touch him? Ask me first. Then Su Jintian jumped. Straight off the 1,000-meter cliff. Boom. He walked out of the crater without a speck of dust on him. Level 90 badge gleaming on his chest. You can't stop me, he told Zheng Taizhan. Casual. Like talking to an ant. Zheng Taizhan was sweating but didn't move an inch. Commander Zhan said anyone who touches him is making an enemy of the military. Su Jintian just smiled. Cold. Is Zhan Tianxiong here? Zheng Taizhan couldn't answer. Because no, Zhan Tianxiong, the strongest of the 5 great powerhouses, wasn't here. Step aside, General, I said from behind him. Everyone froze. You can't stop him. I don't want to drag you into this. Before he could respond, a sharp voice cut through everything. Su Lin, a girl in a yellow dress, shoved through the crowd and ran straight up to me. Wang Shiqing, hair messy, candy stains on her face, eyes red, but grinning. You finally came out. You bastard. She punched my chest. I've been waiting over 2 hours. Why are you here? I asked. Are you stupid? You're running into a secret realm, and I'm supposed to just sit at home. Then she turned around and pointed directly at Su Jintian's face. Hey, Su Jintian, have you got no shame? Level 90 picking on level 10? Are you even human? Dead silence. Every jaw in the canyon dropped. Wang family's eldest daughter. Living up to her reputation. Su Jintian's eyes flashed with killing intent, but only for a second. Because right behind Wang Shiqing, her grandfather stepped out. Wang Tiangang, level 85. Don't mind the kid, he said calmly. She doesn't know any better. You're going to block me too? Su Jintian asked. Wang Tiangang didn't answer with words. He just stood in front of me. That was answer enough. Level 85, blocking level 90? Su Jintian laughed. Can't stop you, but I'll try, Wang Tiangang said. My granddaughter's friend isn't dying in front of me. Then more people rushed out of the crowd. Su Lin, Yin ran up first, eyes red as a rabbit's, grabbing my arm. You scared the crap out of me. I thought you weren't coming back. Han Bing was grinning like an idiot beside her. You're out. You're out. That's good. Ingrid actually wasn't yawning for once. Just a small smile. Not bad. You lived. Lin, you stood at the back, head down, face hidden. But I noticed her fingers finally let go of her sleeve. Something warm spread through my chest looking at all of them. Why are you all here? I asked. Obviously because you went into the secret realm, Yin snapped. And what do we find when we get here? That old bastard blocking the exit. She whipped around towards Su Jintian. Are you even human? Level 90 against level 10. Where is your shame? Su Jintian ignored her completely. His eyes never left me. Not once. Su Lin, he said again. Are you just going to keep hiding behind other people? I looked at him. Then I took a step forward. Su Lin, Yin grabbed my arm. What are you doing? I turned and looked at her. Calm. Let go, I said. This is my fight. Yin froze when I told her to let go. She opened her mouth, but one look at my eyes, and she went quiet. Her hand slowly dropped. Han Bing tried to say something, but Ingrid pulled him back. Ingrid looked at me, paused, then nodded. Be careful. Wang Shiqing tried to stop me too, but her grandfather held her back. Don't, Wang Tiangang said. He's made up his mind. I walked up to Su Jintian and stopped. 3 meters apart. Face to face. He looked down at me. 18 years, and this was the first time he'd really looked at my face. 18 years, he said. Didn't expect you'd turn out like this? I said nothing. If I'd known you'd become this, I should have strangled you in the crib, I laughed. Light. Easy. Too bad. You can't kill me now. So let's settle this. Let me see if your level 90 is worth a damn or if it's just dog shit. The whole canyon went silent. You could hear heartbeats. He stared at me for 3 seconds. Then he smiled. Cold. Good. 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 He stepped back, and his 20 black-clothed fighters rushed me all at once. 20 guys. All above level 70. Coming at me from every direction. The first one reached me. A swordsman, level 75. He brought his blade down hard. 75 billion damage. I didn't move. Didn't flinch. Just stood there and let him hit me. Thorn's reflection, 100%. His eyes went wide. He looked down at his own chest. A slash had appeared in the exact same spot he'd cut me. Blood sprayed out. He split in half before he could finish his sentence. Second guy punched me in the face. 80 billion damage. 80 billion reflected right back. His fist exploded. He stumbled back 3 steps, then split apart. Dead. Third. Fourth. Fifth. All 20 of them hit me. All 20 of them died from their own attacks bouncing back. 3 seconds. 20 bodies in a neat circle around my feet. Blood running like a river. I stood in the middle of it without a scratch. Your people, I said, looking at Su Lin. Not good enough? Wang Shiqing's candy dropped out of her mouth. Yin couldn't breathe. Hanbing's legs gave out, and he had to lean on Ingren. Even Ingren looked shaken. Lin Yu raised her head, eyes red. The military guys were frozen solid. General Zheng just stood there with his mouth open. Su Lin looked at the 20 corpses. No expression on his face, but his knuckles were white. Fine, he said. I underestimated you. He took 1 step forward. The ground cracked under his foot. Level 90 pressure crushed down on everything. People stumbled backward just from the weight of it. I stood right in the center of it all. Felt like nothing. I smiled at him. Su Lin, you want to kill me? Then hit me. Your strongest attack. I'll stand right here and take it. The crowd lost it. He's insane. Level 90 full power? He'll die. No one can tank that. Here's the thing though. I had a plan. His strongest hit? Probably around 100 trillion damage. My HP was only 31 billion. That punch could kill me 30 times over. But I had my substitute stone statue passive. And my clone was still out there somewhere. Worst case, the statue takes the hit. I survive, and if things go really wrong, I die once, clone keeps me alive, and I come back in 30 days. But him? He definitely couldn't survive his own strongest attack reflected back at him. That was the whole point. I was baiting him into going all out. Su Lin. Run, Yin screamed. Stop fighting. Get out of there, Wang Shiqing yelled. I ignored them both. Just watched the light building in his palm. It got brighter. And brighter. The air twisted. The ground shook. Everyone around us couldn't even move from the pressure. Level 90. SSS tier ability. 100 times amplifier. Plus gear, passives, skills, 1 hit. At least 100 trillion. Come on. Show me what level 90 looks like. He punched. It was like a meteor. A blazing tail of light screaming straight at me. The ground within 100 meters exploded. Bystanders went flying. People screaming everywhere. 100 trillion damage slammed into me. I disappeared inside the light. Su Lin. Yin scream tore through everything. Hanbing collapsed to his knees. Ingren's fists were shaking. Lin Yu's tears finally fell. 3 seconds of blinding light. Then, substitute stone statue. Triggered. A gray statue burst out of my body and blocked the hit. The statue shattered into 1,000,000 pieces, but the punch was gone. Absorbed. Done. I was still standing. Covered in blood. HP nearly 0. But alive. And at the exact same moment, Bone Spike Fury. Triggered. 100 trillion damage reflected. Every bit of it. Sent right back at Su Lin. His pupils shrank to dots. He couldn't dodge. Boom. 100 trillion hit him dead on. He flew backward, smashed through 3 mountains, and embedded into the 4th one like a nail in a wall. Dead silence. Every single person in that canyon was staring with their jaws on the floor. Su Lin. Level 90. Humanity's strongest. Just got launched through mountains by his own son. Inside the mountain, he struggled to his feet. His chest had a hole in it. You could see organs. For the first time in his life, there was fear on that man's face. He looked down at the hole in his chest, then looked at me, bloody, barely standing, but standing. You. Before he could finish, a golden light flashed from inside his coat. A jade pendant floated out, covered in runes. The runes flickered wildly, then crack. The pendant shattered. The second it broke, his wounds started healing. Visibly. In 3 seconds he was back on his feet. HP almost 0, but alive. A life-saving treasure. Used up. Gone forever. He looked at me one more time, and for the first time ever, I saw real fear in Su Jintian's eyes. A level 10 who tanked his full power hit and nearly killed him with his own attack. If I leveled up a few more times. He turned and ran. Level 90 speed. Gone in a blink. Disappeared into the mountains. I watched him go. Didn't chase. Couldn't chase. I'm level 10. What was I going to catch him with my legs? I looked down at myself. HP ticking back to full the next second. Substitute passive on cooldown for 12 hours. I took a deep breath. I didn't win this fight, but I made him burn a life-saving item he can never get back. And honestly, I thought I was dead for sure. Not bad. Yin tackled me first. Arms around me so tight I couldn't breathe, tears and snot all over my face. You scared me to death. I thought you were dead. Han Bing ran over, laughing and crying at the same time. You're alive. You're alive. That's all that matters. Ingren walked up, patted my shoulder. Didn't say a word, but his eyes were red. Lin Yu stood nearby, head down, shoulders shaking. Wang Shiqing had passed out earlier, and someone had to pinch her awake. The second she came to, she sprinted over. Saw me covered in blood. Tears poured down her face. Are you okay? I shook my head. Fine. She bit her lip, then punched me in the chest. Don't you ever do that again. You scared me half to death. I stumbled back a step and looked at her snotty, teary face. Okay, I said. Wang Tiangang walked over and looked at me with something complicated in his eyes. Kid. Impressive. You took a level 90 punch and nearly killed him with it. From today on, everyone in the world is going to look at you differently. General Zhang came over too. Pure respect on his face. Su Lin. I'm convinced. Truly convinced. I nodded but didn't say anything. I looked in the direction Su Jintian had disappeared. He ran today. Next time, I won't let him run. The sunset painted the canyon gold, but the ground was still covered in bodies and blood. Yin hit me first, literally tackled me, crying so hard she could barely talk. You scared me to death. I thought you were dead. I looked down at her. I'm fine. Fine? 100 trillion damage. I thought you were going to turn to dust. Han Bing stumbled over, legs still shaking, half laughing, half crying. You're alive. You're alive. Dude, you just made a level 90 run away. Ingren walked up and patted my shoulder. Didn't say a word. Didn't need to. The look in his eyes said everything. Lin Yu stood off to the side, head down, shoulders trembling. Silent tears hitting the dirt. Wang Shiqing came running over, took one look at me covered in blood, and started bawling again. Then she punched me in the chest. Don't you ever do that again. I stumbled back a step. Looked at her snotty, teary face. Okay, I said. Wang Tiangang walked up and studied me like I was some kind of puzzle he couldn't figure out. Kid. Impressive, he said. You took a level 90 full power hit and nearly killed him with it. From today on, the whole world sees you differently. General Zhang came over too, face still covered in dirt from getting knocked over by the shockwave, but his eyes were shining. Su Lin. I'm convinced. Truly. Commander Zhan is going to lose his mind when he hears about this. I nodded. Didn't say much. I checked my panel. Substitute stone statue. Cooling down. 11 hours 59 minutes remaining. Twin body. Active. Main body alive. Clone alive. Clone was still out there. Carrying the furnace stone and the mask. Hidden somewhere nobody would find. Good enough. Wang Shiqing grabbed my arm. How did you do that? How does a level 10 tank a level 90 punch and send him flying? I looked at her. Paused. I'll tell you later. She blinked, then rolled her eyes. Always with the mystery act. Yin wiped her tears and suddenly remembered something. Wait. Su Jintian ran off. What if he comes back? He's level 90. He won't, Wang Tiangang said. He's hurt bad, and that life-saving jade pendant is gone. There are less than 5 of those on the whole planet. He's not recovering anytime soon. General Zhang nodded. Plus, this is going to be all over the news by tonight. The great Su Jintian, level 90, humanity's strongest, chased off by a level 10. He's never living this down. I listened to them talk, but my mind was already somewhere else. 3 days. In 3 days, that crazy woman was coming. Shuewei, the Blood Flame King's daughter. Level 60, loaded with high-tier items. 3 days from now, with even stronger gear, my luck wouldn't hold. I needed to get stronger. Clear every remaining rift. Hit level 20. Get my level 20 passive trial. Max out everything I could before she showed up. Su Lin, Yin Yin's voice pulled me back. What are you thinking about? I looked at her, then at everyone else. Wang Shiqing, Wang Tiangang, General Zheng, Yin Yin, Han Bing, Ingrun, Lin Yu, and beyond them, the reporters, the family representatives, the rubberneckers, all staring at me. Hero, that's what they saw. I took a deep breath. I've got something to take care of, I said. Gotta go, huh? Yin Yin grabbed my sleeve. Go where? You're still hurt. I looked down at myself. The blood had dried. The wounds were already healed. When you regenerate 100% HP every second, this was nothing. I'm fine. You guys head back. I'll come find you in a few days. Yin Yin opened her mouth to argue, but Ingren pulled her back. He looked at me. 1 second of silence. Then a nod. Be careful. I nodded back. I turned and started walking out of the canyon. Su Lin, I looked back. Wang Shiqing stood in the sunset, her yellow dress glowing in the light. Red-eyed, she waved at me. Come back alive. I looked at her. Corner of my mouth twitched up. Okay. I turned around, pulled out my flying device, and took off toward the next rift. Meanwhile, back at the Su family mansion in Tianqiong City, things were not great. Lin Wanqing sat on the sofa clutching her phone with white knuckles. She'd read the same news alert 20 times. Shocking. Su Jintian beaten and forced to flee by a level 10 awakener. Life-saving jade pendant shattered. Below it, a blurry photo of Su Jintian drenched in blood, chest torn open, running for his life into the mountains. It's fake. Has to be fake, she muttered. He's level 90. Humanity's strongest. How could? Su Yao stood by the window in a brand new dress, now wrinkled into a ball from her nervous fidgeting. Why isn't Dad back yet? It's been 3 hours. Su Ling was curled up in the corner of the sofa, nails digging into a pillow, scrolling through comments that cut like knives. Level 90 got chased off by level 10. I'm dying. Su Jintian is this weak? Seriously, life-saving pendant shattered, almost died on the spot. Embarrassing on a generational level, little Su Xiaoxiao was hiding on the staircase, sneaking peeks at her phone. She was too young to understand level gaps, but she could read the comments just fine. Su Lin is amazing, and the hero is Su Lin, flooded every post. She whispered, Big brother Su Lin is really cool. Lin Wanqing's head snapped up. Xiao Xiao, what did you just say? The little girl flinched and shut her mouth. Su Qin sat in his wheelchair, face pale, hands gripping the armrests until his knuckles went white. In his head, the scene played on loop, me standing in a river of blood, 20 elite fighters dead at my feet, Su Jintian's full power punch flying back at him, blasting him through mountains. Impossible, he whispered. He was supposed to be trash. He's trash. Enough. Everyone's heads turned to the door. Su Jintian stood in the doorway, covered in blood, clothes shredded. The wound on his chest had healed, but you could still see the pink new flesh twitching underneath. That powerful, commanding face, for the first time ever, looked wrecked. No, not just wrecked, scared. Lin Wanqing rushed to him. Jintian, are you okay? How bad is it? He shoved her aside without a word. Walked into the living room one slow step at a time, like every step cost him everything he had. He dropped into the main chair. Silence. Dead, suffocating silence. Su Yao crept closer. Dad, do you want some water? He ignored her. Su Qin wheeled forward, voice shaking. Dad, are you all right? Su Jintian finally looked up. His eyes could have burned a hole through steel. All right. His voice came out like sandpaper on stone. I almost died. Do you understand what that punch was? 100 trillion. My full power. Hit him, and it bounced right back and nearly killed me. My jade pendant is gone. Shattered. Do you know how rare that thing is? Less than 5 on the entire planet. Su Qin flinched so hard his wheelchair rolled back. Lin Wanqing's eyes went red, and she reached for Su Jintian's hand. Jintian, please calm down. Your wounds haven't healed. He slapped her hand away. Wounds, he laughed. Cold. Ugly. I almost died. He stood up and paced the living room. Bloody footprints on the expensive carpet. Nobody dared breathe. Level 10, he muttered. A level 10 piece of trash made me run. I'm level 90. Humanity's number 1. My own son made me run. He stopped and looked at everyone in the room. Lin Wanqing, Su Yao, Su Ling, Su Xiaoxiao, Su Chun. You know what people are saying right now? Nobody answered. He pulled out his phone and threw it on the table. The screen was lit up with forum comments scrolling faster than you could read. Su Jintian is this week? Seriously, level 90 got chased off by level 10. I'm crying. Life-saving pendant shattered. Almost died on the spot. Su Lin is a god. From today on, Su Lin is my daddy. Lin Wanqing's face went white as paper. Su Yao's legs gave out, and she collapsed onto the sofa. Su Ling buried her face in a pillow, shoulders shaking. Su Jintian grabbed the phone and smashed it into the floor. It shattered into pieces. I'm level 90, he screamed. Humanity's number 1. And I came running home like a stray dog because of a level 10. Lin Wanqing finally broke. Tears falling. Jintian, please. No matter how strong he is, he's still your son. Son? He turned on her. You want to talk about sons? Who locked him in the basement? Who wouldn't let him eat at the table? Who called him trash every single day? She froze. Mouth open. Nothing came out. He stepped closer, towering over her. You know how he looked at me today? Not hate. Not fear. Just calm. Like I was an ant. He's level 10 and he looked at me like I was an ant. She stumbled backward, tears streaming. Then he turned to Su Yao. She was shaking head to toe. Dad, you what? You remember what you did to him? Dumped his food in the garbage. Made him copy your homework on an empty stomach. Then threw it away without even looking at it. Her face went ghost white. He looked at Su Ling next. She curled up tighter, trying to disappear. And you? He saved up 6 months of pocket money to buy Su Chun a birthday present, and you laughed at him. He got pushed into a pond and almost drowned, and you told him it was his own fault. He got punished kneeling in the basement, and you walked right past without even glancing. Su Ling sobbed but didn't dare lift her head. Finally, he looked at Su Chun. Su Chun sat in his wheelchair, looking like a corpse. Su Jintian walked right up to him and stared down. You? I raised you for 18 years. Gave you enough resources to train 100 geniuses. And what did you do? Play the victim. Act innocent. Stab people in the back. Wang Fu's attack. That was you, wasn't it? Those assassins, you hired them, didn't you? Su Chin's lips trembled. Dad, I was wrong. I really was. I just wanted to scare him a little. Scare him? Su Jintian laughed. It sounded worse than crying. You scared him, and now I almost died because of it. He reached down, grabbed Su Chun by the collar, and lifted him clean off the wheelchair. Feet dangling in the air, face turning purple. Jintian, Lin Wanqing screamed. Stop. He's your son. Su Jintian ignored her. Eyes locked on Su Chun. Every word like a nail being hammered in. Remember this. Today, all of this is your fault. If not for you, I wouldn't have gone to kill him. If I hadn't gone to kill him, I wouldn't have nearly died. And if I had died, I'd haunt you from the grave. He let go. Su Chun hit the floor, gasping, shaking all over. Su Jintian turned and headed for the stairs. Stopped halfway. Starting today, the Su family is locked down. Nobody leaves. Nobody sees anyone. The mockery out there? Swallow it. When I've healed, I'll deal with him. He went upstairs. The living room went dead quiet. Lin Wanqing collapsed on the sofa, crying. Su Yao's shoulders shook violently. Su Ling hugged her pillow like a life raft. Little Su Xiaoxiao crept down from the staircase, peeked at Su Chun on the floor, then at the door, and whispered, Is big brother Su Lin really that amazing? Nobody answered her. Su Chun lay on the ground, trembling. Not from pain, from fear. My face was stuck in his head, those calm, bottomless eyes staring right through him. Would I let him go? He already knew the answer. Meanwhile, I was already gone, flying toward the next rift while the entire internet lost its mind. The top 10 trending topics were all me. Exclusive. Su Lin tanks. Su Jintian's full power hit. Reflects it back. Su Jintian flees. Video footage. 20 level 70 elites killed in 3 seconds. Expert analysis. Su Lin's reflectability is at least legendary tier. Su Jintian's life-saving jade pendant destroyed. Priceless artifact gone forever. Su Lin, from trash to divine tier. From abandoned son to hero, Su family on lockdown. No one dares show their face. Comments were moving so fast you couldn't read them, but some got pinned to the top. I was a reporter at Baimang Mountain. I swear on my life I've never seen anything like it. Su Jintian's punch shook the entire canyon. We all got knocked flat. And then, Su Lin was standing. Su Jintian was flying. Level 90 goes all out on level 10. Doesn't kill him. Gets reflected and almost dies. What even is that? He cleared the blood prison bone tower. Top 10 hardest secret realm. 3,700 people died in there, and he walked out alive. The Su family is definitely crying under their blankets right now. Huh. Deserved. The Awakener Association posted an official statement. Su Jintian violated the Awakener Covenant by attacking a level 10 as a level 90. And they formally awarded me the title of Hero of Humanity, along with their highest honor medal, stamped with Chairman Chen Jiozhou's personal seal. The military put out their own announcement. Short and brutal, Zhan Tianxiong. Su Lin is one of ours from Dragon City War Academy. Anyone who touches him is making an enemy of the military. I mean it. Dragon City War Academy's statement was even harder. Our student Su Lin today, at level 10, drove back the level 90 supreme powerhouse, Su Jintian. This will be recorded in history. Su Lin, you are the pride of Dragon City War Academy. Anyone who wants to touch him can ask us first, signed with Old Zhang's personal seal and the Academy's official stamp. The comments section went nuclear all over again. Across town, in a random apartment building in Tianxiong City, a perfectly ordinary-looking middle-aged man sat at a computer reading all of this. Average face, the kind you'd lose in a crowd. But his eyes, calm as still water, dark and bottomless, were exactly like mine. Because he was me, my clone. He scrolled through the announcements, then closed his phone. Outside the window, the city glittered with neon lights. The main body, the real me, was still out there grinding rifts. Shuiwei was coming in 3 days. And the clone's job was simple: hide, wear the mask, carry the furnace stone, stay somewhere nobody would find him. Don't fight, don't level up, don't clear anything. Just survive. Because if I died, he'd still be alive. And 30 days later, he could split off a new clone. He smiled, pulled the curtains shut, and lay back on the bed. Su Lin, oh Su Lin, he muttered to himself. Don't you dare die. I want to see that crazy woman's face next time she shows up. Outside, the neon lights kept blinking. Far away, a rift's glow pulsed in the night sky. That was my direction. Still grinding. Still getting stronger. Still preparing for what was coming in 3 days. And the whole planet? Already going crazy over me. The people who used to mock me were calling me a hero. The people who used to look down on me were worshipping me. The people who used to hurt me were hiding under their blankets, shaking. But I knew the truth. This was only the beginning. 3 days. 3 full days and nights, without sleeping more than 30 minutes at a time. Clear a rift. Fly to the next one. Clear it. Fly again. When I got tired, I'd close my eyes for 10 minutes on the flying device, then get right back to it. When I got hungry, I chewed on dried meat. When I got thirsty, I chugged water. I went through outfit after outfit. Every single one got shredded inside the rifts. My hair was caked with blood, my face was black and red, and I looked like a coal miner who'd been dragged through hell. But I didn't stop. Couldn't stop. The last rift. CN 0999. I stared at the blinking marker on the holographic screen, took a deep breath, shoved open the hatch, and jumped out from 1,000 meters up. Wind screaming past my ears. Ground rushing up. I adjusted midair and slammed into the canyon floor like a meteor. Boom. Climbed out of the crater, dusted myself off, and looked up at the final gate. 100 meters tall, 50 meters wide, pitch black. The runes on it were barely glowing, like a candle about to go out. Small text carved into the frame. CN 0999, Withered Bone Desert Age. 97 years, entrance. 231 survivors. 0. I pushed the door open and walked in. 1 hour later, I walked back out. Behind me, the rift collapsed. The runes flickered a few last times, like a dying breath, then went dark for good. The stone gate cracked down the middle and crashed into rubble. I stood there looking at the pile of debris for 3 seconds. Done. Every single level 10 rift in the entire country. All 223 of them. Cleared. I opened my panel and scrolled through the numbers. Total rifts cleared. 223. Total secret realms cleared. 2. Total skills obtained. 223. Current skills on panel. 109. Out of everything I'd picked up over these 3 days, 6 skills stood out. 5 active skills that would be useful against Su Lin, and 1 passive that could be absolutely broken if it worked the way I thought it did. Skill 1. Spider Web Bind. Active. Shoot sticky silk from your palm. Target cannot move for 2 seconds. Cooldown, 10 minutes. Range, 50 meters. Skill 2. Time Slow. Active. Create a 30-meter slow field around yourself. All enemies inside move 90% slower for 2 seconds. Cooldown, 15 minutes. Skill 3. Ice Coffin Seal. Active. Freeze target in a coffin of ice. Cannot move or use skills for 1.5 seconds. Cooldown, 10 minutes. Range, 30 meters. Skill 4. Shadow Chains. Active. Chains rise from the ground and lock target's limbs. Cannot move or attack for 2 seconds. Cooldown, 10 minutes. Range, 40 meters. For crowd control skills. Each one locking someone down for at least 1.5 seconds. Chain them together? 7 to 8 seconds of total lockdown. What can you do in 8 seconds? A lot. Enough to land a full blood sacrifice combo. Enough to make sure nobody runs away this time. Next time I see Su Lin, he's not getting away. I kept scrolling. Skill 5. Smile of the Luck Goddess. Passive. Your luck 1. That's it. 1 line. No percentages, no explanation, no details. Just luck +1. But if I upgraded this thing to max tier, and if I made it to a 2nd tier planet where I could get a 2nd awakening, would it help me awaken the exact ability I wanted? That was just a guess. The description was too vague to know for sure. Maybe it did other things too. I'd have to find out later. Last one. Skill 6. Rift/active. Focus all your strength and slash a spatial rift forward. Deals damage equal to 10% of your current HP. Cooldown, 5 minutes. Range, 100 meters. My eyes narrowed. Another damage skill tied to my HP. And this one was ranged, 100 meters. My current HP was 3.1 trillion. 10% of that was 310 billion damage per hit. Those other skills adding a few 100,000 damage. Cute. This was on a completely different level. This was my 2nd active damage skill after Blood Sacrifice. Blood Sacrifice costs HP to deal damage. Rift/ deals a percentage of my HP as damage. Chain them together in 1 combo, and I was looking at close to 1 trillion damage in a single burst. Add the 4 control skills. Add the Thorn's Reflection. Add 100% HP regen per second. I closed the panel and took a deep breath. Enough. That's enough to deal with Su Lin. As for Shuewei, we'll see. I climbed back into the flying device and punched in coordinates. Dragon City War Academy. Time to go back. Not to show off. Not to attend classes. I still had that Heavenly Tower card, grade 2. 1 use. And it jumps me straight from level 10 to level 20. At level 20, I'd unlock my 2nd passive trial. I needed every single opportunity to get stronger. Every single one. The flying device shot into the clouds and streaked toward the academy. Behind me, the pile of rubble sat silent in the morning light. All 223 sub-level 10 rifts across the entire country. Gone. 7 in the morning. Dragon City War Academy. The Heavenly Tower entrance. I could see the crowd from the air before I even landed. Had to be tens of thousands of people packed into that plaza. Not just academy students, reporters, fans, family representatives, military people, association officials. Cameras everywhere. The whole circus. Down below, my teammates were already waiting. Yin stood at the front in a brand new red combat suit with her hair in a high ponytail. She was even wearing makeup. Yin, wearing makeup. That had never happened before in the history of the universe. Hanbing was next to her looking like a goofy rich kid who'd been dressed by his mom, but at least his hair was combed for once. Ingrid was leaning against a pillar in a black jacket with the collar flipped up, trying to look cool. But everyone who knew him knew he'd been up all night just to make it here on time. Lin Yu stood at the edge, quiet as always, but wearing a white dress I'd never seen before. She was holding a little handmade sign that said, "Su Lin, you can do it," in wobbly handwriting. And of course, Wang Shiqing. She'd shown up yesterday and refused to leave. Old Zhang couldn't get rid of her, so he gave her a dorm room. She was standing next to Yin in a new yellow dress with her hair curled, and the two of them were already bickering. Why are you here again? Yin Yin snapped. I'm here to watch Su Lin. What's it to you? Wang Shiqing shot back. You're not even from our academy. I'm his friend. Do you know what that word means? Back and forth. Neither one giving an inch. Everyone around them just shook their heads. Old Zhang was at the very front with Commander Lei Jun. Old Zhang had actually shaved and put on new clothes. Looked 10 years younger. Think the kid will show? Old Zhang asked. Yes, Lei Jun said. How are you so sure? He promised his teammates. Old Zhang paused. Then smiled. Kid keeps his word. Over on the east side, Zhang Tianxiong himself had shown up. The Zhang Tianxiong, first among the 5 great powerhouses, the military's #1. White hair, old military uniform, spine straight as a spear. Standing there with his hands behind his back, staring at the sky. General Zheng whispered to him. Commander, you really think he'll come? He hasn't slept in 3 days. So what? Zhang Tianxiong cut him off. You still don't understand him. Then he smiled. Quietly. This kid. Interesting. Even I'm not his match anymore. Chairman Qin Jiuzhou from the Awakener Association was there too, holding a golden medal, the hero of humanity highest honor. He'd come all the way from the capital just to hand it to me personally. 7:10, 7:20, 7:30. The crowd swelled from 30,000 to 50,000 to 80,000. People were climbing trees to get a view, holding up their phones. Is he here yet? Not yet. What's taking so long? Yin Yin was a mess. Sweating, checking her phone, checking the sky, checking her phone again. Why isn't he here yet? She muttered. Relax, he'll come, Hanbing said. I know he'll come. I'm just nervous. Ingrin had his eyes closed against the pillar. Anyone who didn't know him would think he was sleeping. Anyone who did know him knew that's exactly what he looked like when he was stressed. Lin Yu gripped her little sign so hard her knuckles went white. Wang Shiqing stopped talking entirely. Just stared at the sky without blinking. 7:40. A silver white that appeared in the sky. It got bigger, closer, punching through the clouds with a howling wind. A silver white flying craft. No markings, just small text on the wing. Dark Knight Special Phantom Class. It circled the plaza once, then landed. The hatch opened. I stepped out. Faded black jacket. Messy hair. Dust still on my face. I looked like garbage, honestly. Bloodshot eyes. Bad color. Running on 0 sleep. But I was here. 3 seconds of silence. Then 80,000 people exploded. He's here. Su Lin. Su Lin. Hero. Hero. Blood God. Blood God. The sound hit me like a tidal wave. Reporters shoving forward. Flash bulbs turning the whole plaza white. Foreign journalists yelling my name in broken Chinese. Fans holding signs. Su Lin, I love you. Blood God forever. Hero of humanity. Crying and screaming at the same time. Yin Yin got to me first. Ran so fast, she almost lost her shoes. Slammed into me with a hug that could crack ribs. You finally came. I've been waiting 3 days. I looked down at her. I'm here. Hanbing ran over, half laughing, half crying. I knew you'd come. I knew it. Ingren walked up. Shoulder pat. No words. Red eyes. Lin Yu stayed in the back, head down, holding up her little sign as high as she could. Her hands were shaking, but that sign didn't waver. Wang Shiqing shoved through and punched me in the chest. You're 40 minutes late. Do you have any idea how long I waited? I stumbled back a step, looked at her pouty, angry face. Traffic, I said. Traffic? You were in the sky. What traffic? I didn't answer. Just looked at all of them. Yin Yin, Hanbing, Ingrun, Lin Yu, Wang Shiqing. And beyond them, the reporters, the fans, everyone who came. 80,000 people, waiting for me. I took a deep breath and gave them a small wave. I'm back. The plaza detonated again. He spoke. He actually spoke. Su Lin, I love you. Blood God is the greatest. Chairman Qin Jiuzhou walked out of the crowd, carrying the golden medal. He stopped in front of me. Su Lin, you cleared all 223 sub-level 10 rifts across the country, shut down every high-danger secret realm, and saved countless lives. The Awakener Association formally awards you the title of Hero of Humanity and our highest honor medal. He held it out. I looked down at it. Pure gold. A tower engraved on the front with a star at the top, shining in the sunlight. I took it. Thanks, he smiled. Don't thank me. You earned it. He paused. One more thing. The association has opened an investigation into Su Jintian's attack on you. If he tries anything again, we won't stand by. I nodded. Honestly, I was hoping Su Lin would come at me again. I had 4 new control skills and a space-cutting attack that said he wouldn't be running next time. Chen Jiuzhou left, and I turned toward the Heavenly Tower entrance. The plaza went quiet instantly. Every eye on me. I stood in front of the entrance and took a deep breath. The blue light gates slowly opened, glowing softly. I looked back one last time. Yin pumped her fist. Go get him. Hanbing grinned and gave me a thumbs up. Ingren actually opened his eyes and nodded. Lin Yu held up her sign, tears building in her eyes, but smiling. Wang Shiqing cupped her hands around her mouth and shouted, Su Lin, don't die in there. I looked at her. Corner of my mouth twitched up. I turned around and stepped through the gate. A flash of light, and the world disappeared. Behind me, 80,000 people held their breath, watching that door, waiting for me to come back out. I stepped through the light gate, and the roar of 80,000 people cut off like someone hit a mute button. I opened my eyes. Gray-white void. Transparent platform under my feet. Light streams stretching out in every direction. No sky above, no ground below. Just endless flowing light. The Heavenly Tower. A cold, mechanical voice echoed in my head. Heavenly Tower, floor 10. Single-player mode. Enter. I didn't answer right away. I pulled the silver-white card out of my spatial ring. Heavenly Tower card, Grade 2, Effect. Activate continuous clear mode. Clear one floor and advance to the next without exiting. Maximum continuous clear, floor 19. Must exit after floor 19. I pressed the card against the platform. It melted instantly into thousands of silver-white light particles that spread across the entire void like living things. The mechanical voice came back, and if I didn't know better, I'd say it sounded confused. Special item detected. Heavenly Tower card, Grade 2. Continuous clear mode activated. Rules updated. Challenger may attempt floors 10 through 19 consecutively. After clearing each floor, choose to exit or continue. Floor 19 Guardian is 3 times stronger than floor 18. Begin. Deep breath. Begin. The platform dropped out from under me. The void ripped open and light swallowed me whole. I landed on a wasteland. Heavenly Tower, floor 10, monsters. Iron-armored giant lizards times 50, level 10 a normal, HP, 10,000 attack, 1,000, clear condition. Kill all within 1 hour. 50 lizards covered in dark red scales, tails dragging, tongues flicking. I turned on my taunt passive. Their eyes went blood red and they all charged at once, biting my legs, my arms, my waist. Every bite did 1,000 damage. They didn't care that their own bodies were falling apart. They just kept attacking. And every single hit bounced right back. 10 bites each. Heads exploded. Blood everywhere. 20 seconds. 50 corpses in a neat pile around my feet. Floor 10 cleared. Time. 20 seconds. Continue. Continue. Drop. Flash. New floor. Floor 11. Shadow Hunters times 50. Level 11 normal. HP. 11,000 attack. 1,100. Skill. Invisibility. Taunt on. They couldn't resist it even while invisible. Claws came at me from every angle. Neck, chest, back. Every hit reflected. 20 seconds. 50 invisible corpses fading into view in pools of their own blood. Floor 11 cleared. Time. 20 seconds. Continue. Outside, the plaza was losing its mind. 2 giant light screens on the tower's outer wall showed my progress in real time. Current challenger. Su Lin, current floor. 10. Time. 20 seconds. Yin was standing at the front with her mouth wide enough to fit an egg. He's insane? Continuous clearing? How long is he going to keep going? Hanbing's legs were going soft again. Where did he even get a continuous clear item? I've never heard of one. Ingren leaned against his pillar, eyes locked on the screen, thinking hard. The rifts, he said. Had to be a reward from one of the rifts. Lin Yu gripped her little sign with white knuckles, but her mouth was curving up into a smile. Wang Shiqing stared up at the screen, her candy forgotten in her mouth. How many secrets does this guy have? Zhang Tianxiong stood at the front, hands behind his back, watching the numbers climb. General Zheng caught his mouth twitch. Commander, did you know he had this item? This kid, Zhang Tianxiong said, has more hidden up his sleeve than you'd believe. Chairman Chen Jiuzhou watched from the other side, eyes getting brighter by the second. His researcher Zhou whispered, if he makes it to floor 19 and comes out, he'll be level 20, with a second passive trial on top of everything else. He didn't finish, but they both knew what it meant. A level 20 me, with all my skills? Su Jintian wouldn't even be able to run. Back at the Su family mansion, Su Jintian sat in his chair, watching the live stream on his phone. Current floor, 12, time, 20 seconds. Lin Wanqing's face was white. 12. He just cleared 10, then 11, now 12. How is this possible? Su Yao curled up in the corner hugging a pillow, brain completely blank. Su Ling stood by the window, head down, too scared to watch, but listening to every number change like a hammer hitting her chest. Little Su Xiaoxiao peeked at her phone on the staircase. Big brother Su Lin is so cool. Lin Wanqing glared at her, and she disappeared. Su Qin's face was paper white, lips trembling, hands shaking. Impossible. He can't do continuous clears. It's against the rules. Su Jintian ignored him. Floor 13. Time, 21 seconds. Floor 14. Time, 24 seconds. Floor 15. Time, 27 seconds. Floor 16. Time, 30 seconds. Su Jintian's fingers slowly curled into fists. He was remembering 3 days ago. 100 trillion. His full power punch. Didn't kill me. Got reflected back. Nearly died. Life-saving pendant destroyed. Level 90, humanity's number 1. Sent running by a level 10. And now that level 10 was climbing. Floor after floor after floor. Lin Wanqing's voice cracked. Jintian. He's at 16. 3 more floors, and he's at 19. He comes out at level 20. She stepped closer, voice shaking harder. 20. He's only been awakened for 3 months. 3 months from level 1 to level 20. Is that normal? Su Jintian finally spoke, cold as a freezer. No, normal awakeners take 6 months to a year to reach level 20. He did it in 3. He cleared 223 rifts. Every single one gave him skills or items. All those bonuses stacked together. His real combat power is way beyond what his level says. Back at the Su family mansion, Su Jintian was watching my tower climb on his phone. Floor 17. 33 seconds. He stood up and walked to the window. Stared at the sky for a long time. Then he said something quiet, almost to himself. If he clears floor 19 and comes out at level 20, gets another passive trial. I can't beat him. The whole living room went dead. Lin Wanqing grabbed his arm. What are you saying? You're level 90. 100 trillion damage. How can he? He looked down at her. He tanked it. He tanked it and reflected it back and nearly killed me. My jade pendant is gone. Next time there's no pendant to save me. He hits level 20, swaps to legendary gear. His HP multiplies by 10, picks up another passive. He paused. Next time we meet, I'm dead. Lin Wanqing's legs buckled. Su Yao caught her, shaking just as hard. Lin Wanqing kept mumbling through her tears. We shouldn't have treated him like that. We shouldn't have. This is our fault. Now it's come back to us. Su Jintian turned and stared at Su Chun in his wheelchair. Su Chun was shaking head to toe. Dad, why are you looking at me? This is all because of you. Dad, I'm sorry. I really am. I just wanted to scare him a little. Scare him? You scared him and almost got me killed. Now he's coming back for revenge. Tell me what to do. Su Qin couldn't speak. Su Jintian stared at him for several seconds, then turned and walked toward the door. Where are you going? Lin Wanqing screamed. Dragon City War Academy. Why? He stopped. Back turned. 3 seconds of silence. I'm tying up Su Chun and bringing him to Su Lin. He's going to kneel and apologize. Dead silence. Su Chin's face went white as a ghost. Dad, he screamed. You can't. I'm your son. I'm the son you raised for 18 years. Su Jintian turned around and looked at him. No warmth. No family. Nothing. 18 years, and I raised a snake. You nearly got me killed. You brought disaster on this entire family. Now it's time for you to pay. He walked out. Behind him, Su Chin's screams ripped through the air. Dad. Dad. You can't do this. MOM. MOM, save me. Sisters. Please. Lin Wanqing collapsed on the floor, crying, unable to say a word. Su Yao and Su Ling kept their heads down. Didn't look at him. Su Xiaoxiao hid on the staircase. 2 black-clothed guards grabbed Su Chun and dragged him out. He thrashed and fought, his body twisting off the wheelchair, his legs scraping the floor and leaving a streak of blood. Su Lin, you'll die for this. I'll haunt you from the grave. His voice faded, got smaller and smaller, then gone. Meanwhile, I was inside the tower, and I wasn't slowing down. Floor 18. 36 seconds. The monsters hit me, their damage bounced back, they died. Simple math. Floor 19 was supposed to be the hard one. Guardian 3 times stronger than floor 18. I stepped onto the platform. Outside, 80,000 people were counting every second on the light screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nobody breathed. Not a single person in that plaza made a sound. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The screen flashed. Floor 19, cleared, time, 11 seconds. The plaza detonated. 11 seconds. Floor 19 in 11 seconds. Is he even human? He's level 20. He did it. The light gate blazed open and I stepped out. Floor 10 through floor 19. 10 floors straight. Total time, under 7 minutes. Yin tackled me first. You scared me to death. 11 seconds. I thought you died in there. I looked down at her. Didn't die. Han Bing ran over, laughing and crying at the same time. Level 20. 3 months. Level 1 to level 20 in 3 months. Ing run. Shoulder pat. No words. Red eyes. Lin Yu in the back, holding up her little sign, tears building but smiling. Then Wang Shiqing shoved through the crowd, pushed Yin out of the way, and planted herself right in front of me. New yellow dress, curled hair, looking great, but her face was pure fury. Can you stop being so terrifying every single time? She punched my chest. 11 seconds. Do you know how hard my legs were shaking out here? I stumbled back a step. Looked at her angry, puffy face. I'm fine. Find my ASS. Another punch, lighter this time. Next time you pull this, I'm running in there after you. Yin jumped in. Hey, who do you think you are? You can't just hit people. Wang Shiqing whipped around. I'm his friend. Do you even know what that means? Friends can just punch people. That's called caring. Ever heard of it? Off they went again. Back and forth, neither one backing down. Everyone watching just shook their heads. One was a violent maniac from the academy. The other was the Wang family princess. Nobody was stepping between those two. I ignored both of them and looked toward the front of the crowd. Zhang Tianxiong stood there. Old military uniform, white hair, spine like a spear. In those old eyes, respect, admiration, and just a hint of fighting spirit. Kid. Not bad, he said. Quiet, but every word crystal clear. Level 20 now. Next up, the passive trial. I nodded. Yeah. Zhang Tianxiong looked at me for a few seconds, then grinned. Hell difficulty. I didn't answer, but he read my face. Bold. When I was level 20, I picked nightmare difficulty and almost died in there. You're picking hell. You've got more guts than I did. Everyone around us went quiet when they heard that. Zhang Tianxiong, the strongest of the 5 great powerhouses, level 89. He picked nightmare and almost didn't make it? How insane was hell supposed to be? I wasn't thinking about that. I opened my panel and scrolled through the Heavenly Tower shop. Level 20 legendary gear. I'd already picked out what I wanted. Level 20 legendary armor, immortal war plate, HP 200,000. Cost 10 million points. Level 20 legendary ring, ring of life, HP 100,000, attack 10,000. Cost 10 million points. Level 20 legendary sword, daybreak, attack 20,000. Cost 10 million points. 3 pieces. 30 million points total. Pocket change for me with 470 million sitting in the bank. I bought all 3. The armor materialized in my hands. Dark gold, with light patterns flowing across the surface like something alive. The second I put it on, warmth surged through my whole body. The ring was silver white with a green gem that pulsed with light. The warmth got stronger. The sword was long and sleek, silver white blade with a cold edge. I gave it one test swing, and it cut a ripple through the air itself. I checked my panel. Name, Su Lin, level 20, HP 31 trillion. Base 10,000 times billion multiplier equipment, 300,000 times billion multiplier equals 31 trillion. Attack, 31,000. Base 1,000 equipment, 30,000. 31 trillion HP. 10 times what I had at level 10. Attack at 31,000. Over 10 times higher than before. I closed the panel and looked at Zhang Tianxiong. I'm ready. He nodded and waved his hand. The crowd split open like a river, clearing a path to the light gate in the center of the training field. The passive trial gate. Same as last time. Pale blue, runes carved into the frame, gold light flowing through the engravings. But brighter this time. More complex. Runes packed so tight they covered every inch of the door. I started walking. Yin Yin grabbed my arm as I passed. Her voice was shaking a little. Su Lin, be careful. Hell difficulty isn't a joke. I looked at her and nodded. Wang Shiqing came up too. For once, she didn't yell. Just said quietly, don't die in there. Han Bing smiled, but it was forced. You'll be fine. Your divine tear. Ingrid looked me dead in the eye. Come back alive. Lin Yu stood in the back, holding up her little sign. Her lips moved, and all she managed was 2 words. Good luck? I looked at all 4 of them, then at Wang Shiqing. Yeah. I turned and walked to the gate. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. Deep breath. I stepped through. Light swallowed everything. Outside, 80,000 people went silent. A giant light screen appeared above the gate showing my trial info. Challenger. Su Lin, level 20, selected passive, ability enhancement, effect boost, difficulty, hell, trial content. 3 question marks. Nothing else. Why question marks? Someone asked. An old awakener shook his head. Hell difficulty trials are different for everyone. The content, the process, even the results, nothing gets revealed. Only the person inside knows what happened. Yin Yin's nails were digging into her palms. Wang Shiqing stood next to her, not arguing for once. Hands clenched together, knuckles white. Chairman Chen Jiuzhou stared at the gate. Think he can pass? His researcher Zhou whispered. Chen Jiuzhou paused for a second. He passed the level 10 hell trial. He cleared the blood prison abyss. He cleared the bloodbone abyss. He cleared 223 rifts. If he can't pass this, nobody can. 1 minute. 2 minutes. 5. 10. The gate didn't move. 80,000 people. Dead silent. Staring at that door. I opened my eyes. Blood-red wasteland. The sky was dark crimson, like dried scabs. The ground was covered in shattered bones that crunched under my feet. In the distance, mountains made of bones rose out of a red fog, and rivers of dark liquid flowed at their base, not water. Blood. The air reeked of rust, and something sickeningly sweet underneath, rotting flesh mixed with fresh blood. I stood still and waited. The mechanical voice came. Level 20 passive trial. Ability enhancement, effect boost. Difficulty, hell. Trial content, blood-tide death zone. Rules, survive 1 hour in the endless blood tide. 6 waves, 1 every 10 minutes. Monsters will come from all directions until you are dead. Wave 1, 1,000 level 20 elite blood tide worms. Wave 2, 5,000 level 20 elite blood tide hounds. Wave 3, 10,000 level 20 elite blood tide knights. Wave 4, 50,000 level 20 elite blood tide mages. Wave 5, 100,000 level 20 elite blood tide giants. Wave 6, 1 level 20 lord tier blood tide king. No exit. Live or die. Trial begins. The second the trial started, a blood-red line appeared on the horizon. It was getting thicker fast, like a tsunami rushing toward me. When it got close, I saw what it was. Worms. Thousands of them. Fist-sized, blood-red, covered in barbs. Their mouths were round rings of spinning teeth, like meat grinders. They crawled out of bone piles, out of blood rivers, out of the red fog. Everywhere. Covering everything. Wave 1. 1,000 blood-tide worms. I checked my panel. 31 trillion HP, 100% regen per second, 100% thorns. Taunt pulling everything within 100 meters. Come on then. The first worm latched onto my ankle, spinning teeth chewing into me. 20,000 damage. 20,000 reflected right back. Its head popped like a grape. Second worm. Third. Fourth. All 1,000 of them piled onto me at once. They buried me under a mountain of squirming red bodies, crawling into my clothes, onto my face, biting every inch of me. 20,000 damage per bite, and every few bites their heads exploded from the reflection. I just stood there. Let them chew. 1 minute later, all 1,000 were dead. I stood in a heap of worm guts and blood without a scratch on me. Wave 2. 5,000 blood-tide hounds, each one the size of a calf. Blood-red scales. Mouths split to their ears, full of fangs. The ground shook when they charged. First one leaped and bit my shoulder. 50,000 damage. A few bites later its jaw ripped apart, and it split in half. 5,000 of them swarmed me, biting my legs, waist, arms, neck. 50,000 per bite. A few hits, and their own bones shattered from the reflected damage. I stood there. Let them bite. 3 minutes. The pile of dead hounds around me grew into a small mountain. Wave 3. 10,000 blood-tied knights. 3 meters tall, riding bone horses, wearing black armor, carrying bone spears 3 meters long. They charged in formation like a trained army. Every spear thrust did 100,000 damage. But here's the thing. They stabbed me once, their spear exploded. Twice, their arm broke. 3 times, they fell off their horses and got trampled into paste by the riders behind them. 10,000 knights. 5 minutes of charging. All dead. I checked my HP. 31 trillion. Hadn't budged. I was regenerating faster than they could hurt me. Wave 4. 50,000 blood-tied mages. These ones floated in the air wearing tattered red robes, carrying bone staffs. They didn't come close, just hovered at range and rained magic down on me. Fireballs, ice spikes, lightning, shadow arrows, bone spears. Every color of magic smashing into me like a storm. 200,000 damage per hit. The numbers scrolled so fast I couldn't read them. But I didn't move. They hit me for 200,000. They ate 200,000 right back. A level 20 elite mage had maybe 500,000 HP at most. 3 hits reflected, and they were done. 3 seconds. First batch fell out of the sky and splattered on the ground. 5 seconds. Second batch dropped. 10 seconds. The sky was empty. 50,000 mages. All dead. I stood in the middle of a mountain of corpses, smoke rising off my body from the fire, lightning, and ice. Every wound healed in a second. Wave 5. 100,000 blood-tied giants. 10 meters tall each. Bodies made of blood-red rock. Every step cracked the ground open. They came in rows like a moving wall. First giant reached me, lifted its foot, and stomped. Boom. 500,000 damage. I sank half a meter into the ground. Next second, its foot exploded. The reflected damage shattered it to gravel. It lost balance and crashed down, shaking the earth. More giants piled in. Stomping, punching, slamming. 500,000 damage every hit. And every hit cracked their own bodies apart. A giant punched me, its fist shattered. Kicked me, its legs snapped. Body checked me, hole in its own chest. I was like an ant being trampled by a herd of elephants. Except this ant couldn't be crushed. 10 minutes later. 100,000 giants. All rubble. I climbed out from under a mountain of broken rock. Covered in dust, hair a disaster, clothes in tatters. But I was standing. Wave 6. Final wave. I took a deep breath and stared at the horizon. Something massive was walking toward me. The blood-tied king. 20 meters tall. Blood-red bone armor covering its entire body. Dark red flames spilling out of every gap. Its face was a bone mask with no eyes. Just 2 burning red fires. In its hand, a bone blade 10 meters long, carved with twisted runes. It stopped in front of me. Looked down. Those burning red eyes held no madness. No bloodlust. Just judgment. You are strong, it said, voice like bones scraping together. I said nothing. But you must die. It raised the bone blade and brought it down. Boom. 10 million damage. I stepped back 1 pace. Looked down at my chest. Clothes sliced open, a faint white line on my skin. Then the line vanished. 100% regen per second. That wound healed in a fraction of a heartbeat. The blood-tied king froze. It looked down at its own blade. A crack had appeared along the edge. It didn't believe it. Another slash. 10 million. Another. 10 million. Another. 10 million. It went berserk, hacking at me over and over and over, one swing after another. I stood there. Didn't move. Let it swing. I glanced at my panel. HP, 31 trillion. Regen, 100% per second. It was hitting me for 10 million per swing. I was regenerating 31 trillion per second. It could hit me 10,000 times, and I wouldn't lose a single point of net HP. And itself? Every swing cracked its blade a little more. 1 swing, a crack. 10 swings, the blade broke. The blood-tied king looked down at the broken stump of its blade, then back at me. For the first time, those burning red eyes showed something new. Fear. What? Are you? I didn't answer. Just took a step forward. It stepped back. Can't have that. I switched on my taunt. Its eyes went blood red instantly, and it charged at me like I'd murdered its entire family. Fists, elbows, headbutts, anything it had left, it threw at me. But every hit bounced right back. And it couldn't take what it was dishing out. Its body cracked down the middle like an invisible blade had split it in two. A blood-red core rolled out of its chest and stopped at my feet, still beating. Thump, thump, thump. Then that raspy voice one last time. You win. The core exploded into a million red light particles and slammed into my body. I nearly burst. Not pain, pressure. Like something was growing inside every cell, stretching me to the limit. 10 full seconds of it. Then silence. I opened my eyes. Golden text floating in front of me. Congratulations. Level 20 passive trial. Hell? Cleared. Passive obtained. Ability enhancement. Effect boost. Hell ability effect 100%. I stared at that line for a second. Then opened my panel. My ability went from billion-fold HP multiplier to 2 billion-fold. I did the math. Base HP at level 20, 10,000. Equipment, 300,000. Total base, 310,000. Times 2 billion. 62 trillion HP. Regen per second at 100%. 62 trillion. I closed the panel and took a deep breath. The blood-tide death zone was falling apart around me. Sky cracking open, ground sinking, bone mountains toppling one after another, blood rivers flowing backward, red fog dissolving into nothing. A golden gate opened in front of me. Through it, sunlight. Dragon City War Academy. I stepped through. The second I came out, 80,000 pairs of eyes locked onto me. I looked like absolute garbage. Covered in blood, clothes shredded, hair a mess, face streaked with grime. Like a deserter crawling back from a battlefield. But I was standing. Yin Yin sprinted over so fast her shoes almost flew off. She grabbed my arm and checked me over like I was a broken appliance she'd found in a dumpster. Are you okay? You were in there almost an hour. I thought you died. I looked down at her. Didn't die my ass. You scared me to death. She punched my chest, then immediately rubbed the spot, worried she'd hurt me. You know what this hour was like for us? Wang Shiqing almost charged in after you. I was not going in. Wang Shiqing shoved through the crowd, face bright red. I was just stretching my legs. I looked at her. Then at Yin Yin. One with red eyes, one with a red face. I smiled. Han Bing popped up behind them, grinning like a light bulb. I knew you'd pass. Hell difficulty? Your divine tier. Zhang Tianxiong walked over and studied me. Passed? I nodded. Passed. He looked at me for 3 seconds. Then smiled. Good, one word. But packed with everything. Respect, admiration, maybe a little envy. The complicated feeling of an old soldier watching a new star rise. Chairman Qin Jiuzhou came over with the medal. Congratulations, Su Lin. Level 20 Hell Trial. Thanks. He handed me the golden medal. Hero of Humanity. Highest honor. You're the third person to receive this. I looked at it. Pure gold. A tower with a star on top. Shining in the sunlight. Who were the first two? I asked. He paused. First was Zhang Tianxiong. Second was Su Jintian. My fingers stopped for a second. Then I laughed. Light. Third. Not bad. I pocketed the medal. The crowd was still going crazy. Reporters pushing, cameras flashing, fans crying and screaming. When a commotion started at the edge of the plaza. Move. Out of the way. A group shoved through the crowd. Leading them was a middle-aged man in black combat gear with a level 70 badge. Behind him, 2 more black-clothed guys pushing someone forward. Su Chun. He was ghost white, shaking all over, legs dragging on the ground, pants soaked with blood. Behind them all, Su Jintian. Level 90 badge gleaming on his chest. But today that badge looked less like an honor and more like a punchline. The plaza went dead silent. Everyone recognized him. The man I'd sent running 3 days ago. Yin Yin jumped in front of me like an angry cat. What are you doing here? Wang Shiqing planted herself next to Yin Yin. You've got nerve showing your face. Zhang Tianxiong stepped forward. Didn't say a word. Didn't need to. His eyes were cold enough. Military guys moved in, hands on weapons. Su Jintian ignored all of them. He only looked at me. We stared at each other across the plaza. Then he moved. Not forward, sideways. He stepped aside, and his men pushed Su Chun to the front. Su Chun nearly tipped out of his wheelchair. He grabbed the armrests, shaking like a leaf. Kneel. Su Jintian's voice was ice. Su Chun looked up at him, tears pouring. Dad, please. I'm your son. You raised me for 18 years. Su Jintian didn't even glance at him. He nodded to the 2 guards. They grabbed Su Chen's shoulders, dragged him out of the wheelchair, and pressed him flat on the ground. His legs were useless. His face was in the dirt. His whole body was shaking. He twisted his head up to look at me. Tears and snot everywhere, blood on his knees, looking barely human. Brother, I was wrong. I was really wrong. His voice cracked and warped between sobs. Wang Fu, that was me. The assassins, I hired them. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Please. He pressed his forehead to the ground. Thud, thud, thud. Each time, more blood. His forehead split open. Blood and tears ran together across his face. Brother, I'm kowtowing. Please forgive me. I'll never do it again. Never again. 80,000 people. Not a sound. Everyone watched. Some frowned. Some sneered. Some had no expression at all. But nobody felt sorry for him. Yin Yin glanced at him and turned away. Now you know you were wrong? Where was that energy before? Wang Shiqing didn't even blink. Deserved. Hanbing's usually goofy face was full of satisfaction. Ingren leaned against his pillar with his eyes closed, didn't even bother looking. Lin Yu kept her head down, clutching her sign, saying nothing. Su Jintian stepped forward and stood next to his kneeling son. He looked at me. Su Lin, his voice was heavy. 18 years. We wronged you. Wang Fu, the assassins, all Su Chen's doing. I brought him here to kneel. To kowtow. You want to kill him, hurt him, whatever you want. He's yours. He paused. Voice even heavier. I'm only asking one thing. Spare the Su family. I looked at him. Didn't say anything for a long moment. Then I spoke. You tied up Su Chen. Made him kneel and kowtow. Then you say spare the Su family. You think that's enough? His face changed. I took a step closer. 18 years, I said. The basement. Damp. Moldy. No heat in winter. No air conditioning in summer. I slept down there. You slept upstairs. Did you ever think about that? He said nothing. 3 days ago, you brought 20 level, 70 killers to murder me. You think we can just call it even? His face went white as paper. I looked him dead in the eyes. All you know is that I became a threat, so you try to kill me. Now you can't kill me, so you come begging. That's all this is. I laughed. Short and cold. Su Jintian. The second your life was in danger, you threw away your own adopted son just to beg for my forgiveness. You really are ruthless. But you forgot something. Su Chen's life is only enough to pay for Su Chen's sins. It doesn't cover yours. I looked at both of them, the man standing and the boy bleeding on the ground. So today, I'm not letting either of you off. Su Chen is dead, I said. Your turn. Su Jintian looked at me. Father and son, face to face. The wind blew across the plaza and lifted the gray powder that used to be Su Chen. Some of it landed on my shoes. I glanced down. Felt nothing. Su Jintian stepped back. That level 90 badge on his chest still caught the sunlight, but it didn't look like pride anymore. It looked like a joke. The mask of authority he'd worn his entire life finally cracked, and underneath was just an old, tired, scared man. Su Lin, his voice scraped out like sandpaper. You, me what? He opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Then screaming from the edge of the crowd. Jintian, Jintian. A woman shoved through the mob, running so hard one of her heels flew off. Her dress was torn, her hair was everywhere. She looked like a refugee. Lin Wanqing, my mother. Behind her, 3 girls. Su Yao, gasping for air, face red. Su Ling, eyes swollen, lips bitten white. And little Su Xiao trailing at the back, face covered in tears, clutching something in her hand. They rushed to Su Jintian. Lin Wanqing grabbed his arm, checking him over like she was making sure he was still alive. Are you okay? Are you okay? Her voice cracked. Tears fell. He didn't answer, just looked at me. She followed his eyes and turned around. And there I was, 18 years old, thin, standing straight. Faded black jacket covered in blood that wasn't mine. No expression, eyes like a well with no bottom. Her tears stopped dead. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Like someone had their hands around her throat. This was her son, the one she carried for 10 months. The one she'd held exactly once. When the nurse put me in her arms right after I was born, she looked down, thought I was ugly, and told the nanny to take me away. She never held me again. When I was learning to walk and fell down, she didn't help me up. When I had a fever and cried for mama, she ignored me. When I got pushed into a pond and almost drowned, she said it was my own fault. When I was kneeling in the basement, she walked past without a glance. She thought I was annoying, gloomy, a waste. an embarrassment to the Su name. She gave all her love to Su Chun, the adopted son, the one who smiled sweetly and called her mommy, the one who stabbed people in the back, sent thugs after her own flesh and blood, and hired assassins to kill me. And now that adopted son was a pile of ash, and her real son was standing in front of her like a stranger. Su Lin, she managed, voice shaking so hard every word wobbled. I looked at her, said nothing. Her legs gave out. She dropped to her knees. Su Yao screamed and tried to pull her up, but Lin Wanqing pushed her away. She knelt there, looking up at me, tears pouring down. Su Lin, Mom was wrong. Mom was really wrong. She could barely get the words out between sobs. Don't kill your father. Please spare him. No matter what he did, he's still your dad. I looked down at her. This woman on her knees. Hair a mess, makeup ruined, eyes swollen like walnuts, snot and tears all over her face. Nothing like the mother in my memories. That woman always wore a perfect qipao, sat in the living room sipping tea, and never once looked at me directly. You want me to spare him? I said. Quiet. She nodded frantically. He's still your father. Blood is thicker than water. You can't kill him. Blood is thicker than water. I repeated those words. Then I laughed. Cold. When he came to kill me, why didn't you say blood is thicker than water? When he put a bounty on my head across the whole city, why didn't you say blood is thicker than water? When I spent 18 years in that basement, why didn't you say blood is thicker than water? She froze. Do you know what it was like down there? I crouched down to her eye level. Winter. No heat. Ice on the floor. I wrapped myself in a torn blanket and shivered all night. Summer. No air conditioning. Water dripping down the walls. Mold all over the sheets. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't sleep. I knelt until my knees split open. Blood seeped into the cracks between the stones. Nobody put medicine on it. I had a fever, 40 degrees, calling for mama. Nobody came. I was so hungry I chewed the plaster off the walls. Threw up white foam. Nobody brought me a single bite of food. Her face went white as paper. Did you know all this? I asked her. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Did she know? Of course she knew. The order to make me kneel in the basement came from her. Nobody helped me when I was sick because she told the nanny, don't bother. I went hungry because she wouldn't let me eat at the table. She knew everything. She just didn't care. And now you're telling me blood is thicker than water? I stood up and looked down at her. Too late. She collapsed, shaking all over. Su Yao ran forward and threw herself at my feet. Hit the ground so hard her knees cracked against the rubble. Blood seeped through immediately, but she didn't feel it. She looked up at me. Mascara smeared into black streaks, eyeliner running, face nothing like the pretty girl she usually was. Su Lin, she grabbed my pant leg, voice so shrill it could cut glass. Please spare Dad. I'm begging you. I'll kowtow. She slammed her forehead into the ground. Thud, thud, thud. Every hit was real. The broken stones sliced her forehead open, blood running down her nose. I'm sorry for what I did when we were kids. I dumped your food in the trash. I made you copy my homework on an empty stomach. I didn't even look at it before I threw it away. She was hyperventilating between sobs. I was wrong. I was really wrong. Hit me. Yell at me. Kill me if you want. Just please spare Dad. I looked down at her. This woman kowtowing at my feet was nothing like the big sister from my memories. That girl always walked with her chin up, looking at me out of the corner of her eye like I was something stuck to her shoe. When I was little, I woke up early to cook breakfast for the whole family. She said it tasted bad and dumped it in the garbage. I stayed up all night copying her notes. She never even glanced at them, just tossed them in a drawer. When I was kneeling in the basement, she walked past without slowing down. Back then I thought she just didn't like me. Later I understood, she didn't dislike me. She never saw me as a person at all. A piece of trash wasn't qualified to be her brother. You want me to spare him? I said. Not happening. She stayed on the ground, forehead bleeding, but she couldn't feel the pain anymore. All she felt was cold. Cold from the inside of her bones. Su Lin walked up next. Slow. Every step like walking on broken glass. That face that always wore a mean smirk was now white as paper. She stopped in front of me, stood for a second, then knelt. No words. No kowtowing. Just kneeling there, head down, shoulders shaking. I looked at her. Su Lin, second sister. The one who laughed when Su Chun threw away the birthday present I'd saved 6 months of pocket money to buy. The one who told me it was my own fault when I almost drowned in the pond. The one who walked past the basement door without even looking. She was different from Su Yao. Su Yao simply looked down on me. Su Ling looked down on me with malice. Every time Su Chen bullied me, she laughed the loudest. Every time something bad happened to me, she was the happiest. "You here to beg too?" I asked. She didn't lift her head, just knelt there, shaking harder. Her voice was wrecked, like she'd been crying for hours. "I'm not asking you to spare Dad." That surprised me. She raised her head, face soaked in tears, eyes swollen to slits, lips bitten until they bled. "I know I don't deserve to ask," she said. "What I did to you was worse than what Big Sister did. You bought Suchin a present," I laughed. "You almost drowned," I blamed you. "You were kneeling in the basement. I walked past and stepped on you on purpose." I said nothing. "It's not that I didn't know you were hurting." Her voice dropped lower and lower, almost a whisper. I pretended not to know, because if I admitted I knew, I'd have to feel sorry for you. If I felt sorry for you, Suchin would be upset. If Suchin was upset, Dad would be upset. If Dad was upset, my life would get harder." She paused. The tears fell faster. "So I pretended not to see," Su Ling said, face pressed to the ground. "Pretended you didn't exist. Pretended you weren't my brother. That way I could bully you with a clean conscience. Watch you suffer with a clean conscience. Be the Su family's perfect second daughter with a clean conscience." She looked up at me. Nothing but regret in those swollen eyes. "I'm not human," she said. "I'm sorry." She pressed her forehead to the dirt at my feet. "I'm not asking you to spare Dad. I'm just asking, don't hate him more because of me." She lay there sobbing like a child. I watched her for a long time. "He wanted my life," I said quietly. "You just wanted me to suffer. So, you'll live." She collapsed flat, crying harder than before. Then Su Xiaoxiao stepped out of the crowd. 15 years old. Skinny. Little ponytail. Face covered in tears. She walked up to me and looked up with eyes full of fear. "Big brother Su Lin." Her voice was tiny, like a scared kitten. I looked down at her. Su Xiaoxiao, the youngest. She and I didn't have any real grudge. She just never did anything. When I was locked in the basement, she never came to see me. When I was forced to kneel, she never spoke up. When Su Chen bullied me, she never stood up for me. "You here to beg too?" I asked. She shook her head, then nodded, then shook it again. I don't know if I should be here. Mom told me to come. Big sister and second sister both came, so I followed." She paused, looked up at me with those red, puffy eyes. "But I want to say something." "What?" She took a deep breath like it took everything she had. "Big brother Su Lin, I'm sorry." She bowed, deep. "I know I don't deserve to be your little sister. I never did anything for you. When you were locked in the basement, I was too scared to visit. When you were kneeling, I was too scared to speak up. When Su Chun was bullying you, I hid in my room and pretended I couldn't hear. It's not that I didn't know you were hurting. I was just too much of a coward. I was scared the sisters would yell at me. Scared Dad would get mad. Scared Su Chun would bully me next. So I pretended I didn't know anything." She straightened up, tears falling one after another. "But you were kind to me. You gave me candy once. You picked me up when I fell down. You stood in front of me when the sisters were yelling at me. I remember. I've always remembered." She reached into her pocket and held something out to me. A piece of candy. The wrapper was all wrinkled and faded, like someone had been holding on to it for years. "This is the one you gave me," she said, voice barely a whisper. "I never ate it. I couldn't bring myself to. I kept it for 3 years." I looked down at that candy. The wrapper had lost its color. The words were too faded to read, but I knew what it was. The candy I'd bought with the last of my pocket money. The one I'd snuck to her and said, "Don't cry, Xiao Xiao. Here, big brother got you candy." I was quiet for a long time. Then I reached out and took it. "Thank you," I said. She froze for a second. Then she burst into tears. She crouched on the ground, both hands over her face, sobbing so hard her whole body shook. Not from fear, not from sadness. It was the kind of crying you do when something you've been holding in for 3 years finally breaks free. I put the candy away and looked up at Su Jintian. Lin Wanqing was still on her knees. Su Yao kneeling beside her. Su Ling face down on the ground. Su Xiaoxiao crouched and crying. For women, all on the ground. Su Jintian stood behind them, head down, face hidden. "Done," I said. Lin Wanqing raised her head, looking at me through blurry tears. "Su Lin, please spare him. I'm begging you." Her voice was raw, broken. No matter what he did, he's your father. If you kill him, that's patricide. What will the world think of you? I looked at her. Then I laughed. The world? I said. You think I care what the world thinks? She froze. When I was locked in the basement, where was the world? When I was hunted across the city, where was the world? When 20 level, 70 fighters were trying to kill me, where was the world? I stepped forward and looked down at her. The world didn't care about me. I don't care about the world. She went limp on the ground. Nothing left to say. I turned to Su Lin. Your women are done begging. Your turn. He raised his head. That commanding face was completely blank now. Not calm, empty. Like a machine that had been running for 60 years and finally snapped its last wire. What do you want to say? I asked him. He was silent for a long time. So long I thought he wasn't going to speak at all. Then he did. You're my biological son. His voice got lower and lower, like it was coming from underground. But your awakening prediction was D tier. Trash. I couldn't afford that embarrassment. So I threw you to the nanny. Wouldn't let you eat at the table. Wouldn't let you see visitors. I thought if I ignored you long enough, you'd stop existing. Then Su Lin came along. Predicted SSS tier. A genius. Knew how to smile, how to act cute, how to call me daddy. I was happy. Thought this was my real son. Gave him everything. You? You didn't matter. He looked at me. I wasn't a good father. I don't even deserve to be called a father. What I did was worse than an animal. He bent down and knelt. I looked at him. Level 90. Humanity's #1. Kneeling at my feet. I'm not asking you to forgive me, Su Lin said. I'm only asking one thing. Don't take it out on them. They wronged you, but they don't deserve to die. If you're going to kill someone, kill me. Okay, I said. One word. Light as wind blowing through rubble. Su Lin took a deep breath, stepped back, and threw his coat to one of his guards. It hit the ground and kicked up a small cloud of dust, Su Chen's dust. Everyone back off, he said. Lin Wanqing was still on her knees, shaking her head so hard her whole body rocked. Jintian? No. You can't beat him. You. Shut up. Not loud, but final. This is between him and me. He told the guards to take the women away. Lin Wanqing clawed at the ground so hard, she broke 2 fingernails, blood smearing the stones. If you die, what happens to us? What happens to the SU family? He didn't look at her. He looked at me. And for the first time, I saw something in those eyes that wasn't fear or pride. It was the look of a father seeing his son. Even if that father had never been a father for a single day. They dragged Lin Wanqing away. Su Yao was pulled off screaming. Su Lin walked herself, but at the edge of the crowd, she turned back. Our eyes met for a second. Then she left. Su Xiaoxiao was carried off by a guard. Just the two of us now. 80,000 people surrounding us, and not a single sound. Cameras rolling, but no one speaking. People barely breathing. Zhang Tianxiong stood at the front, arms crossed. General Zheng had his hand on his weapon, not to help me, but in case Su Jintian's dying strike hurt the crowd. Let's start, I said. Su Jintian raised both hands. 2 orbs of light formed in his palms, 1 gold, 1 silver white. Attack and defense. Level 90. Everything he had, holding nothing back. The energy rippled outward. The ground cracked. Stones flew up and turned to powder in midair. People stumbled backward, shoved by the raw pressure. Level 90. This is what level 90 looks like at full power, someone whispered, voice trembling. I stood there. Didn't move. That pressure hit me like wind hitting a mountain. Didn't leave a mark. Su Jintian stared at me, the light in his hands getting brighter and brighter. His face went white. Sweat beaded on his forehead. He was pouring everything into this single hit. He wasn't trying to win. He knew he couldn't win. But he was going to fight. Not for dignity. Not for pride. Because if he died, maybe my anger would cool. Maybe the Su family could survive. Su Lin, he said, voice like sandpaper on stone. This punch is the strongest one I'll ever throw. You take it, I die. You don't, you die. I looked at him. Said nothing. He stomped forward, and the ground exploded. His whole body launched at me like a meteor, trailing gold and silver light. That punch carried everything he had. Every ounce of his level 90 power. And something else, something twisted and late and broken that he probably couldn't name. Maybe love. Maybe guilt. Maybe just the excuse a dying man needs to close his eyes. The moment his fist reached me, I moved. Not to dodge. To attack. Spiderweb bind. White silk shot from my palm faster than lightning and wrapped around his fist. His eyes went wide. Too late to pull back. The silk locked onto his energy, not his skin. Every bit of power he'd released was tangled up like a bird caught in a net. He couldn't move. Not an inch. Time slow. A gray-white ring of light exploded from my other palm, covering 30 meters in every direction. The second it touched Su Lin, the whole world crawled. Wind slowed. Light slowed. Even his heartbeat thudded like a muffled drum. His bound hand drifted downward in slow motion. 2 seconds. That was plenty. Blood sacrifice. The blood-red light bloomed in my palm. 10% of 62 trillion HP, 6.2 trillion. 200% damage, 12.4 trillion. I pressed it against his chest. His eyes went huge. The light sank into him, and I felt it shatter everything inside. Blood sprayed from his mouth and hit me in the face. Rift slash. I gripped the daybreak sword. White light blazed along the blade. 1 step forward. 1 swing. A crack in space itself ripped from the tip and tore through Su Lin. Another 6.2 trillion. His body split open from chest to stomach. Blood and organs spilled out. He looked down at the wound, then looked up at me. In those eyes, pain, relief, and something I couldn't name. Good, he whispered, soft as wind on dead leaves. Good, he dropped to his knees. Level 90. Humanity's strongest. Kneeling in front of his son. Not begging. Just couldn't stand anymore. I looked down at him. The web faded. Time returned to normal. He knelt there, soaked in blood, chest still pouring. Face white as paper, lips shaking, fingers shaking. But he was smiling. An ugly smile. Like crying. You're stronger than me, he said. I lost. I didn't speak. He looked up into my eyes. Those calm, bottomless eyes, he said, looked like his. Su Lin, he said my name. I never did a single thing right by you. Never held you as a baby. Never changed your diaper. Never walked you to school. Never showed up to a parent meeting. He paused, gasped for air. Blood leaked from the corner of his mouth. It's not that I didn't know. I pretended not to know. Because if I knew, I'd have to do something. If I did something, Su Chen would be upset. If Su Chen was upset, the Su family would lose a genius. I couldn't let the Su family lose a genius. His voice sank lower and lower. But you're my blood. Your veins carry my blood. Everything you can do, it came from me. He raised his head. And for the first time in his life, there were tears in those clouded eyes. After I'm gone, stop hating the Su family. Your mother, your sisters, they were wrong, but they don't deserve to die. Let them go. Su Chen is already dead. That should settle some of it. And now I'm giving you my life too. He lowered his head almost to the ground. Is that enough? I looked at him kneeling there. Didn't speak for a long time. So long that everyone thought I wasn't going to answer. Then I said it. Enough. His whole body shuddered. He raised his head. Through all the blood on his face, he smiled. Not forced. Not fake. A real smile. From somewhere deep inside. Good, he said. That's good. His body started to tilt forward like a mountain falling. I reached out and caught his shoulder. He leaned against my arm. Blood dripped from his mouth onto my shoes. He looked at the blood, then looked at my face. You look like your mother, he said. But your eyes are mine. He reached up, trying to touch my face. His hand made it halfway. Then it fell. Su Lin was dead, kneeling in front of his son, leaning on his son's arm. That's how he went. I held him for a long time. Then I slowly laid him down on the ground. His eyes were still open, looking at me, that smile still on his lips. I reached down and closed his eyes. Rest well. From today, the Su family is dissolved. All assets are turned over to the country. My voice carried across the entire plaza. I stood up, turned around, and walked toward the crowd. Behind me, Su Lin lay on the ground. The wound on his chest was still seeping blood. But that smile on his face never faded. Lin Wanqing stood at the edge of the crowd, held up by guards. She saw me walking toward her. She saw Su Lin lying behind me, not moving. She opened her mouth to scream, but her throat locked up. No sound came out. Tears ran down her face. Silent. Su Yao collapsed on the ground, shaking. Su Ling had her head down, shoulders jerking. Su Xiaoxiao crouched nearby, hands over her face, crying so hard she couldn't breathe. I walked past all of them. Didn't stop. I walked up to Yan Yan and stopped. She looked at me, eyes red, lips moving, trying to say something. Nothing came out. I looked at her. Corner of my mouth went up. Let's go, I said. I'm hungry. She blinked. Then she laughed. Laughed until the tears came. Yeah, let's go eat. She grabbed my arm and pulled me toward the exit. Hanbing followed with his dumb grin. Ingrid walked behind without yawning for once. Lin Yu clutched her little sign and brought up the rear. Wang Shiqing stood there watching me go. Her lips moved. Quietly she said, "Su Lin, you absolute legend." Then she ran after us and grabbed my other arm. "Hey, that dinner you owe me." "When?" I stumbled from the tug and turned to look at her. Today. Her eyes lit up. "You promise?" "Promise." "Then I'm ordering the most expensive thing on the menu." "The most expensive? I'm eating you broke." I laughed. "Deal." 5 of us plus Wang Shiqing, just like that, walking away. Behind us, 80,000 people stood in silence, watching our silhouettes disappear into the sunset. The reporters held up their cameras. Not one of them pressed the shutter. They knew this moment didn't need to be recorded. It was already carved into everyone's memory. Forever. Zhang Tianxiong stood in place, watching the direction I'd gone, quiet for a long time. Then he turned to General Zheng and said one sentence. "From today on, this world is his." While I was out eating dinner with my friends, somewhere far away on a planet called Blood Flame Star, someone was watching everything I'd done. The Blood Flame King. He sat on his throne in an empty palace hall, holding a crystal ball that played back every moment of my last 6 days like a movie. He'd kicked out all his ministers. Nobody was allowed to know about this. Nobody except his daughter. He watched me walk out of the Blood Prison Bone Tower. Watched 20 level 70 fighters die in 3 seconds. Watched me tank Su Jintian's 100 trillion punch and reflect it back. Watched me blitz through 10 floors of the Heavenly Tower in under 7 minutes. Watched me clear the Hell difficulty passive trial. Watched Su Qin turn to ash. Watched Su Jintian die in my arms. The crystal ball froze on the image of me walking away into the sunset. He stared at that image for a long time. 100,000 years, he muttered. Over 8,000 Tier 1 planets. Nobody has ever cleared a top 10 difficulty secret realm at level 10. Never. He walked to the window and looked out at the ocean of churning lava outside his palace. His face, usually composed, regal, was a mess of shock, fear, excitement, and greed all tangled together. The Blood Prison Bone Tower. Difficulty rank 10. Even Tier 2 planets have never had anyone clear a top 10 realm. No matter how many geniuses they sent in, none came out. Even the god races on Tier 3 planets might not be able to clear it. And he did. Level 10. Alone. Walked out alive. He pulled up my data in the crystal ball. Golden numbers floating in the air, each one hitting him like a hammer. Target. Su Lin. Level 20. Rifts cleared. 223. Secret realms cleared. 2. Blood Prison Abyss. Blood Prison Bone Tower. Ability Strength Estimate. At least billion-fold amplification, current combat. Assessment. Can kill any awakener below level 90. Potential assessment. Cannot be estimated. He stared at that last line. His pupils slowly shrank. Cannot be estimated. He repeated it, then laughed. An ugly laugh, almost like crying. 100,000 years I've lived, and I've never seen those words. The Tier 2 evaluation system can estimate the potential of even Tier 3 God race geniuses. But this person? It can't. He started pacing, thinking, running through every scenario. 6 days ago, when his daughter Shui Wei came back, she'd told him about me. 18 rift marks, level 10, tanked a level 78's punches, reflected damage back onto the succubus, survived a flame-burst crystal. He'd thought that was already insane. But now, 223 rifts. 2 secret realms. Level 20. Killed a level 90. In 6 days. He stopped in the center of the hall and looked up at the carvings on the ceiling. Scenes of himself conquering Tier 1 planet after Tier 1 planet. Every image showed him at his most glorious. But looking at them now, he felt like a frog at the bottom of a well. 6 days ago, 18 rifts. Now, 223. 6 days ago, level 10. Now, level 20. 6 days ago, he could survive level 78. Now, he kills level 90. His voice dropped to almost nothing. If he keeps growing, what does he become? He didn't dare think about it. He went back to his throne and pulled out 5 items. Laid them in a row on the table. First, a palm-sized black token with a blood-red character 4 seal carved into it. Rule tier item. The Blood Flame Star's greatest treasure. It could completely shut down a target's recovery. Passive regen, active healing, potions, even natural wound closing. The only one on the entire planet. Second, a silver-white chain, thin as a hair strand, covered in runes that hurt your eyes just looking at them. Space-time shackles, also ruled here, could lock a target in place for 10 seconds. No movement, no attacks, no skills. Nothing. Third, a round mirror the size of a palm. No reflection on the surface, just streams of jumping numbers. Mirror of Truth shows the target's current and maximum HP in real time, accurate to within 1 point. Fourth, a crystal ball the size of a fist with a dark gold flame sealed inside. Not like the flame crystal his daughter had brought last time. This one was bigger, darker, and far more terrifying. The modified flame burst crystal, something the Blood Flame King had personally sealed in his younger days. It could output adjustable, continuous damage, anywhere from 1 point up to 50% of the Blood Flame King's full power attack. As much or as little as you wanted. And it didn't fire once, it kept firing. Fifth, the indestructible shield. When fully charged, it could absorb all incoming damage up to a cap of 10 quadrillion. Status, 100% charged. He lined up all 5 items and stared at them for a long time. Enough, he muttered nervously. With these items, my daughter should have enough. While I was out eating with my friends, I had no idea what was happening on Blood Flame Star. The Blood Flame King left his throne room and walked down a long corridor to his daughter's room. He knocked. "Come in," Shuewei said. He walked in and looked at her. His little princess, spoiled her whole life, never denied anything. And now she was sitting there looking like she'd lost a war. "Still thinking about it?" he asked. She bit her lip and nodded. "I lost," she said quietly. "I brought 2 people down there, level 78 and level 75, loaded with items, and a level 10 native chased us off." She looked up at him. "Father, what is he?" He sat down across from her and handed over the crystal ball. She scrolled through the data. Her face went white, then whiter, then paper white. 223 rifts. Blood Prison Bone Tower. Level 20. Killed a level 90. Her voice was shaking. How is this possible? 6 days ago he had 18 rifts, level 10, surviving level 78. 6 days. Just 6 days. She looked up, and for the first time, there was real fear in those blood-red eyes. "Father, if he keeps growing, that's why this time must succeed." He cut her off and laid out the 5 items one by one. Her pupils shrank. Space-time shackles. Mirror of Truth. Modified flame burst crystal. Indestructible shield. And her eyes landed on the black token and her breathing stopped. "The rule tier healing seal? Father, you're bringing out the healing seal? That's our clan's greatest treasure. One use, and it's gone forever." "I know," he said calmly. "But he's worth it." She stared at him. He leaned forward. "Do you know what kind of realm the Blood Prison Bone Tower is?" She nodded. "Difficulty rank 10. No one on any Tier 2 planet has ever cleared a top 10 realm. Even the god races on Tier 3 planets can't guarantee it." "Correct." And he cleared it. Level 10. Alone. Walked out alive. He paused. Voice dropping heavier. "Do you know what that means?" She shook her head. He stood and walked to the window, back turned. "It means his talent exceeds this universe's evaluation system. Tier 2 assessment systems can estimate the potential of even Tier 3 god race geniuses. But him? The system returns 4 words. Cannot be estimated." He turned around. "Do you know how many times those words have appeared in Blood Flame Star's history?" She shook her head. 0. 100,000 years. The food street outside Dragon City War Academy's East Gate was packed at 8 o'clock. Smoke from grills poured out of every shop, mixing with the smell of chili powder and cumin. Plastic stools everywhere, guys drinking shirtless, a street singer squeezing through with a beat-up guitar. I stood at the entrance and felt a little dizzy looking at it all. A few days ago I was still hiding, running, surviving. Now I was standing here with friends waiting to take me to dinner. "Come on. Why are you just standing there?" Yin Yin grabbed my arm, eyes gleaming. "I'm starving. We're eating something good tonight." Wang Shiqing latched onto my other arm. "Chin up. Remember, the most expensive place. I'm bankrupting you tonight." The 2 of them basically carried me down the street. My feet barely touched the ground. "I don't think I'll go bankrupt," I muttered. Wang Shiqing whipped her head around. "Oh? Big talk. Do you even know the most expensive restaurant near the academy?" I shook my head. "That one," she pointed across the street. 3-story building. White walls. Red lanterns by the door. Windows polished to a shine. Gold letters on the sign, Dua Tower. Luxury hovercars parked outside with family crests on the doors. People going in and out dressed like they were attending a gala. Women in floor-length gowns, men in suits. Yin Yin took one look and her mouth twitched. That's not a restaurant. That's where restaurants go to eat other restaurants. Hanbing peeked over nervously. I heard even a plate of vegetables costs tens of thousands of points there. Wang Shiqing rolled her eyes. Look at you people. Su Lin is paying, not you. She turned to me. Right? I nodded and started walking toward Dua Tower. Two greeters stood at the entrance in kipeos with perfect hair and perfect smiles. They saw me coming and froze. Su Lin. One of them almost dropped her menu. The other spun around and sprinted inside yelling, Manager! Manager! Su Lin is here. The whole street went quiet for a second. Then it exploded. Su Lin? Which Su Lin? Which one do you think? The one who killed Su Jintian at the Heavenly Tower today. In no way. That's really him. People jumped off their stools and craned their necks. The barbecue guy across the street froze mid-flip. Oil dripped onto the coals, and a flame shot up, and he didn't even notice. The street singer stopped singing. The drinkers stopped drinking. Everyone stared at the kid in the torn jacket with messy hair and a dirty face. I walked faster. The manager came barreling out. 50-something, round, face jiggling as he ran. He skidded to a stop in front of me, rubbing his hands together, smiling so wide his face might split. Su Lin. Oh my. What an honor. What an honor. Please, please come in. He was already ushering us through the door, snapping his fingers at a waitress. Third floor. The private room. The best one. Yes, that one. Change the screen. Use the new one. I was a little overwhelmed. I almost said no. A private room felt way too fancy. We could have just squatted at a street stall eating skewers and been perfectly happy. But Wang Shiqing was already pulling me inside, and Yin Yin was following with her eyes darting around like searchlights. The third-floor room was huge. A round table that could seat a dozen people, snow-white tablecloth, fine porcelain, silver chopsticks. The window looked out over the food street below, all that smoke and noise and life. The screen was freshly hung, embroidered with mountains and rivers, stitching so fine it had to cost a fortune. I sat down, took the menu, and flipped the first page. Steamed dragon fish, 80,000 points. Braised spirit deer, 120,000 points. Jade white jade soup, 30,000 points. I looked up at my friends. Yin Yin was studying the menu with her eyebrows scrunched so tight they could catch flies, muttering to herself. Hanbing kept flipping back and forth like he was reading ancient scripture. Ingren put the menu face down on the table and closed his eyes. Lin Yu had been staring at page 1 without moving, probably shell-shocked by the prices. Wang Shiqing had zero shame. She pointed at item after item, rattling off 7 or 8 dishes without blinking. This one, this one, this one, and this one. Yeah, that'll do. The manager scribbled furiously, grinning the whole time. When he finished, he bowed and asked, "What would you like to drink?" "We have 30-year aged spirit fruit wine, and we just received a shipment from the capital of no alcohol," I said. "Just juice." He blinked, then smiled and nodded. "Of course." Fresh squeezed, coming right up, the food came fast. First was the steamed dragon fish, a whole one, lying on the plate with green scallions and ginger scattered on top, drizzled with hot oil, still sizzling. Yin Yin grabbed the first bite, a chunk of belly meat, and her eyes went huge. "So good, so good," she mumbled through a full mouth, chopsticks already reaching for more. Hanbing tried a piece of the tail. His face went from confused to stunned to some kind of bliss I'd never seen on him before. This fish. Did this fish achieve enlightenment or something? How is it this good? Ingren didn't yawn for once. Picked up a small piece, chewed slowly, said nothing. But his chopsticks kept moving. Lin Yu took tiny bites. The corner of her mouth turned up just slightly. Wang Shiqing ate like a champion. Chopsticks flying, mouth packed full, talking nonstop between bites. This dragon fish is from the North Cold Ocean. They only fish for a few days a year. That's why it costs so much. And that deer meat is from Chongjing Mountain, raised on spirit mushrooms, super tender. Hey, don't just eat meat. Try the soup. It's made with. Wang Shiqing talked about every dish like she was giving a food lecture, where it came from, how it was raised, why it cost so much. Yin Yin listened with her mouth hanging open, chopsticks frozen midair. How do you know all this? Han asked. Wang Shiqing rolled her eyes. Duh. This is what my family eats for New Year's dinner. Yin muttered under her breath. Evil capitalist. Wang Shiqing's ears were sharp. What did you say? I said. Evilly delicious. Yeah, evilly delicious. Yin stuffed a huge chunk of deer meat in her mouth and chewed loudly. Wang Shiqing snorted and turned to look at me instead. I wasn't eating much. A few bites, 2 bowls of soup. Then I put my chopsticks down. I just watched them. Yin was wrestling a crab. She'd snapped off the claw but couldn't get the meat out, face turning red from frustration. Han tried to hand her a tool and got slapped away. Ingrid ate slowly, occasionally glancing at the chaos with a faint smile. Lin Yu sipped her soup quietly, eyes curved into little crescents. Wang Shiqing and Yin were fighting over the last piece of deer meat, chopsticks clashing like swords. I watched all of them, and something tugged at the corner of my mouth. This kind of life, I never dared to imagine it before. In the basement, my biggest dream was a hot meal. In the Villain Valley, my biggest dream was to walk out alive. In the dark market, my biggest dream was to get stronger. Now I was sitting here. 5 people who would fight for me. A table full of food I couldn't even name. A city of lights outside the window. Enough. This was enough. I didn't want any of it destroyed by the person coming tomorrow. Su Lin, Wang Shiqing's voice pulled me back. What are you thinking about? You're holding your chopsticks backwards. I looked down. She was right. I flipped them around and picked up a piece of fish. Nothing. She stared at me for 2 seconds, then let it go and went back to fighting Yin for food. Halfway through the meal, the manager came in personally carrying a tray. On it was a white jade wine pot, carved with dragons. He lifted the lid and the smell hit immediately, sweet, rich, warm. Su Lin, this is a gift from our boss. 30-year aged spirit fruit wine. You can't buy this anywhere. The boss says you're the pride of Dragon City War Academy. This pot is for you. I looked at the wine, paused for a second. Then I stood up and took it. Thank him for me. The manager bowed and left. I poured myself a cup. The wine was amber-colored, glowing warm under the lights. I picked it up and looked at the 5 faces across the table. Yin's chopsticks froze midair. You're drinking? You never drink. Tonight I am, I said. I raised my cup toward all 5 of them. This one's for you. Yin went still. Han went still. Ingrid put down his chopsticks and looked at me. Lin Yu raised her head, eyes bright. Wang Shiqing didn't say a word for once, just watched. I drank it in one go. Hot. Burned from my throat down to my stomach. My eyes stung a little. Yin's eyes went red. She grabbed her juice and tipped the whole glass back. I don't drink, but I'm finishing this. Han scrambled to pour himself some juice and held it up. Me too. Ingrid said nothing. Just raised his teacup, gave me a slight nod, and drained it. Lin Yu sipped her juice until it was gone, then lowered her head, shoulders shaking slightly. Wang Shiqing was the most direct. She grabbed the wine pot, poured herself a full cup, and held it up. Su Lin, you're the most incredible person I've ever met. Bar none. She drank it all, then coughed and choked, eyes watering from the burn. I looked at her sputtering mess of a face and laughed. Small, but real. Yin wiped her eyes and suddenly perked up. Oh, Su Lin, what are you doing tomorrow? Want to hit the training grounds? Old Zhang said he's setting up special training for you. My smile faded a little. I put down the cup. 2 seconds of silence. Tomorrow, I have something to take care of. What kind of something? Yin pressed. Personal stuff. Need to handle it. I wasn't even sure I could handle it. Yin stared at me for a long time. That face that was usually loud and carefree turned serious. Is it dangerous? I thought about it. Not really. She didn't believe me. She knew me too well. When I said, not really, I meant, very. When I said, I'm fine, I meant, things are about to go very wrong. When I said, don't worry, that was when you should worry most. She opened her mouth, wanted to say something, but in the end she just nodded. She knew her strength couldn't help with whatever this was. Okay, be careful, Han grinned. Come back soon. Lin Yu said quietly, stay safe. Wang Shiqing slammed the table. If anything happens, call me. I'll be there. I looked at all 5 of them. Okay. We finished around 10. The food street was thinning out. A few drunk guys still playing drinking games on the sidewalk, grill vendors packing up, charcoal dying, smoke fading. Nothing left but bamboo skewer sticks and grease stains. The 6 of us walked out of Dua Tower, and stood at the street corner. Night wind blew in, cool, cutting through the warmth still clinging to our skin. Yin burped and patted her stomach. I'm going to explode. 10-kilometer run tomorrow just to burn this off. Han Bing was counting on his fingers. Dragonfish, deer meat, shrimp, crab, soup. I think this meal was at least 500,000 points. Wang Shiqing scoffed. 500,000? You're missing a zero. Han Bing's face went green. Yin turned to me. How many points do you even have? I thought for a second. Enough for a lot of dinners. Yin rolled her eyes. Rich people. I'll never understand. We all stood there at the corner. Nobody left. The streetlights stretched our shadows out long, overlapping, tangled together until you couldn't tell whose was whose. A few seconds of silence. Then I spoke. I'm heading out. Yin nodded. Get some rest. Ingren gave me a nod. Lin Yu whispered. See you tomorrow. Wang Shiqing waved me off. Go on. Stop dawdling. I looked at them one more time, then turned and walked the other way. Not fast, but steady. The streetlight dragged my shadow behind me, longer and longer, fainter and fainter. About a dozen steps out, I heard a shout behind me. Su Lin. I turned around. Yin stood at the corner, hands cupped around her mouth. Don't die out there. I blinked, then smiled. I won't. My shadow disappeared around the street corner, and I didn't look back again. I walked 3 blocks before I stopped and checked behind me. Empty street. Long shadows from the lampposts. Nobody following. I pulled the flying device out of my spatial ring. The silver-white craft sat quietly in the alley, glinting under the streetlight. I climbed in, buckled up. Destination? I entered coordinates. Deep in Baimang Mountain, a stretch of empty wasteland where I'd cleared rifts before. Over 1,000 kilometers from the academy. No people, barely any monsters. Autopilot. The craft rose silently through the clouds and headed north. I leaned the seat back and closed my eyes. 3 days and nights with almost no sleep. Grinding rifts. Racing between locations. Blitzing the heavenly tower. My body was fine. Passive Regan took care of the physical stuff. But the mental exhaustion? No skill could fix that. Now I could finally sleep. Moonlight slipped through the window and drew a silver line across my face. The engine hummed softly, like a lullaby. My breathing slowed. I was out. Deep, dreamless, undisturbed. The craft flew itself through cloud after cloud, over mountain after mountain. The navigation crawling steadily toward that empty coordinate. 3 hours later, the craft slowed down. Destination reached. I didn't wake up. Below was a barren stretch of desert. No grass, no life, just wind-carved rocks in strange shapes. Snow-capped mountains glowed silver in the distance under the moon. No sign of people, no sign of monsters, nothing. The craft found a flat spot and landed softly. The landing gear touched down with a small bump. I rolled over, mumbled something, and kept sleeping. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. The sky started to lighten. The moon faded, the stars hid, the clouds turned gold and red. The sun crawled up over the horizon and sent its first ray through the window. I opened my eyes, stared at the ceiling for 3 seconds, sat up. Outside, the sun had just risen, painting the whole desert gold and red. The distant snow mountains were dusted with pink, like someone had brushed them with rouge. I rubbed my eyes, popped the hatch, and jumped out. Desert mornings are cold. Wind cut my face like a blade. I pulled out a bottle of water from my ring, rinsed my mouth, then grabbed a strip of dried meat and chewed on it. Hard enough to chip a tooth, but I chewed carefully. After eating, I drank some more water, then sat down against the landing gear and stared at the snow mountains in the distance. The sun climbed higher. Temperature started rising. Wind died. Air turned dry. Throat tight. I just sat there. Didn't move. I was waiting. For that crazy woman. I knew she'd come. Today the passage between worlds would stabilize. Last time she brought 2 people, level 78 and level 75, plus a pile of items, and I still chased them off. This time she'd bring more. Worse stuff. Meaner tricks. But I wasn't running. Couldn't run. She had a tracking compass that locked onto my rift-clearing marks. No matter where I hid, she'd find me. So I sat and waited, all the way until noon. Then I heard it. A soft sound, like fabric tearing, like the air being forced apart by something. Coming from above. I opened my eyes and looked up. The sky was splitting open. A crack, ink black, edges glowing blood red. It grew wider and wider until it became a massive rift 100 meters across. A figure dropped out of it. Fire-red dress, long hair flowing behind her. Features so sharp, she looked like she'd stepped out of a painting. Those eyes, pure blood red, pupils swirling like molten lava. When she landed, the sand within 10 meters blasted upward and fell back down. Shui, alone. I looked at her. She looked at me. A few dozen meters apart, face to face. She landed with a slight bend of her knees, then stood straight. My face got serious fast. Last time she brought 3 people. This time just her. That meant either she'd lost her mind, or she'd brought something terrifying. We meet again, Shui said. Her voice was crisp like cracking ice, mouth curling up, eyes narrowed like a cat that just caught a mouse. Miss me? I didn't answer. She didn't care. Took a step forward, her foot pressing a shallow dip into the sand, the edges glowing faintly red. She looked me up and down without any shame. New clothes? She said. Last time yours were all ripped up. I thought that was your only outfit. This one's not much better though. All gray and boring. Oh, and by the way, your real face is way better looking than that 30-something disguise you wore last time. I was actually disappointed when I saw the fake you. Don't change your face again. Still didn't answer. She took another step. Not fast, but steady. Heels sinking into the sand, kicking up little puffs of dust when she pulled them out. Why aren't you running? She asked. Last time you ran pretty fast. Invisibility, teleportation, face swapping, one trick after another. I couldn't even keep up. I looked at her and finally spoke. Can't run. You have the tracking compass. She blinked. Then she laughed. Hard, head thrown back, tears forming at the corners of her eyes. Honest. I like that. She wiped her eyes. Yeah, I have the tracking compass. Wherever you go, I'll find you. Smart move, staying put. Saves us both the trouble. Another step. Less than 20 meters now. Your dad died, she said. I didn't react. That cheap father of yours. Level 90. You killed him. Your mom knelt on the ground begging, and you ignored her. Your sister kowtowed until her face was covered in blood, and you didn't even look. She tilted her head, studying me. You're a cold person? I looked back at her. Eyes flat. You came all this way to chat. She blinked. Of course not. I'm here to catch you. She said it like she was saying, I'm here to go shopping. She pulled something out. Palm-sized, round, mirror-smooth like still water. The mirror of truth. She pointed it at me. Numbers appeared instantly on the surface. Target. Su Lin, level 20, current HP 62 trillion, maximum HP 62 trillion. Her fingers paused. 62 trillion. She took a deep breath and put the mirror away. 62 trillion, she said. Level 20. 62 trillion HP. You know how much HP I have at level 60? I didn't answer. She answered herself. A fraction of yours. Another step forward. Your HP is insane. Your thorn's reflection is terrifying. But my father prepared me the indestructible shield. Your damage can't touch me. I watched her. And then, she smiled. Pulled out a second item. A silver-white chain, thin as a strand of hair, but blazing bright in the sunlight. It coiled in her palm like a sleeping silver snake. The space-time shackles. Locks you in place for 10 seconds, she said. 10 seconds is more than enough time to do a lot of things. Like enslaving you. My expression shifted. Not fear, caution. She saw it and smiled wider. Scared, she pulled out a third item. A palm-sized black token with a blood-red character 4, seal, carved into it. The moment it appeared, the air around us turned heavy, like something invisible was pressing down. The Rule Tier Healing Seal. This one, she held it up so I could see it clearly, shuts down all your recovery. Passive regen, active healing, potions, natural healing, everything. Your terrifying regen? Useless. My fingers slowly curled into fists. She put the token away and pulled out item number 4. A fist-sized crystal ball with a dark gold flame trapped inside. The flame pulsed, and every pulse warped the space around it. The modified flame burst crystal. This one outputs continuous damage, she said, starting from one point, then slowly increasing, higher and higher, until you can't take it anymore. As much damage as I want, for as long as I want. And the fifth thing, the indestructible shield. She pulled out a shield-shaped device. Absorbs all incoming damage. Cap of 10 quadrillion. You literally cannot hurt me. 5 items laid out. Mirror of truth. Space-time shackles. Healing seal. Modified flame burst crystal. Indestructible shield. 5 items. 5 death sentences. There's one more, she said. She pulled out the last thing. A palm-sized crystal ball, pitch black, with golden patterns flowing across its surface. Those patterns moved like they were alive, crawling slowly, leaking faint golden light with every shift. The soul enslavement crystal. I stared at it. My pupils tightened. Know what this is? She held it up to the sunlight. The gold patterns danced inside the light like a living heartbeat. Soul enslavement crystal, she said, word by word. Once I use it, your soul belongs to me. I say live, you live. I say die, you die. You can't resist. You can't betray me. You can never escape. She paused, looking me in the eyes. Scared yet? I said nothing. She put the crystal away, stood up straight, and brushed the dust off her dress. Those blood-red eyes burned with excitement and anticipation. Now, you have 2 choices. She held up one finger. 1, resist. I use all these items, beat you to the edge of death, and then use the soul enslavement crystal to take control. It'll hurt. A lot. It'll be ugly. Humiliating. And in the end, you'll still obey me. She held up a second finger. 2, kneel. Let me use the crystal willingly. No pain. No suffering. No humiliation. And, she smiled, I'll be nicer to you. The wind stopped. The desert went so quiet I could hear sand grains rolling. Choose, Shui said. I was silent for 3 seconds. Then I moved. Not to kneel. To attack. I poured everything into my legs and launched forward. The sand exploded under my feet. Daybreak flew out of my ring and into my hand, the blade blazing white. Rift slash. A crack in space ripped from the sword tip and tore straight at her. She didn't dodge. The attack hit her, and nothing. 0 damage. Not a single number appeared. See? I told you, she said. You didn't believe me. Then she raised her hand and pressed the space-time shackles. Silver-white chains exploded outward, thousands of hair-thin threads of light shooting at me from every direction. Too fast. Way too fast. I couldn't react. The instant they touched my wrists, my whole body locked up. Like someone hit pause. 1 foot frozen in mid-step. Sword raised halfway, stuck in the air. Even my breathing stopped. Couldn't move. Not a muscle. Space-time shackles. Target locked. Duration, 10 seconds. Shui stood in front of me, tilting her head up to look at my frozen face. She was a full head shorter than me. Those blood-red eyes reflected my image, stuck in midair like a statue. I gave you a choice and you didn't take it, she said, with a tiny pout. Had to make me do it the hard way. She pulled out the healing seal and pressed it against my chest. The moment it touched me, something inside me shattered. Not pain, more like loss. Like a river that had been flowing forever just stopped. Like a heartbeat that had always been there just went silent. Healing seal. All recovery methods blocked. Duration, 60 seconds. My 100% per second regen gone. She stepped back and pulled out the modified flame burst crystal. Aimed it at me. The dark gold flame inside pulsed once. A beam of light, thin as a needle tip, shot out and hit my shoulder. -1 point of damage. I looked down at my shoulder, then back at her. Hurt? She asked. I didn't answer. She pressed the crystal again. The beam got a little thicker. -100 now, nothing from me. She pouted and pressed again. -10,000, -1 million, -100 million. The numbers climbed. 1 million, 100 million, 1 billion, 10 billion, 1 trillion. She watched the mirror of truth, tapping the crystal ball like she was playing piano. Current HP, 62 trillion, 61 trillion, 60 trillion, 59 trillion. My HP was dropping. No regen to catch it. Every point lost was gone for good. But I was still standing. The shackles had worn off after 10 seconds. I was free to move. But I couldn't. Not because I didn't want to. Because I physically couldn't. The healing seal didn't just block my regen, it drained my strength. My whole body felt boneless, like someone had pulled out my skeleton. She walked right up to me and looked up at my face. Kneel, she said. I didn't kneel. She tapped the crystal again. Damage jumped to 1 billion per hit. My legs started shaking. My knees were bending against my will. But I bit down and held, refused to go down. She sighed. You're so stubborn. She reached out and put her hand on my shoulder. Pressed down. Gently. My knee buckled. Then I caught it. Held. She pressed a little harder. My knees slammed into the sand. Thump. The ground dented under me. I was kneeling. In front of her. She crouched down to my eye level. The playful smile was gone. Her expression was serious now. "Does it hurt?" she asked. I didn't answer. She reached out and lightly touched the wound on my shoulder. The holes the flame crystal had burned through, still bleeding, clothes charred black, skin peeled back. It looked as bad as it felt. "You didn't have to go through this," she said quietly. "I gave you a choice. You didn't take it." I raised my head and looked at her. But what she saw in my eyes wasn't hate. Wasn't fear. It was cold. A bone-deep, bottomless cold. She flinched. Just for a second. Then she buried it. My HP was down to the last 10 points. I had nothing left. She pulled out the soul enslavement crystal. It spun slowly in her palm. The golden patterns grew brighter and brighter until they were blinding. "Watch it," she said. I looked down at the crystal. Golden light poured out and crawled into my eyes, into my brain, into the deepest part of my soul. Something was chewing on my consciousness. Something was being ripped out of me, replaced, rewritten into something else. A voice echoed in my head. Not hers. The crystal's. Cold. Mechanical. Empty. Soul enslavement initiated. Target. Su Lin. Level. 20. Estimated enslavement time. 3 seconds. Warning. Target soul strength exceeds standard. Recommend extending enslavement time. Continuing. For seconds. 5 seconds. 6 seconds. Enslavement complete. When those last 2 words lit up in my head, I felt something break inside me. And something else connect. What broke was me. What connected was her. She could feel my heartbeat. My breathing. She could kill me with a thought. That seed planted in my mind would rip my consciousness apart or trap me in agony worse than death. And I could sense something else. If Shui Wei died, the seed in my head would detonate and kill me too. I knelt in the sand, head down, covered in wounds. Blood dripped from my shoulder into the dirt and soaked in. But even as this body was lost, I checked my clone's panel. The clone wasn't enslaved. The connection didn't reach him, which meant, if this body died, I could resurrect through the clone, free from the enslavement. This body was done. I couldn't attack Shui Wei anymore. She held my life in her hands. But the clone was still out there. Still hidden. Still safe. She reached out and grabbed my chin, tilting my face up. Sweat and blood everywhere. But my eyes were burning with fury. "Do you hate me?" she asked. I didn't need to answer. She could see it. She smiled. Wide. Happy. Good. Hate is right. She let go of my chin, stood up, and brushed the dust off her dress. "Hate me, but obey me. Hate me, but you can't kill me. Hate me, but you'll never escape." She looked down at me. Those blood-red eyes held satisfaction, excitement, and something else, something even she couldn't name. "Stand up," she said. I pressed my hands against the ground and slowly pushed myself to my feet. Legs still shaking, wounds still bleeding. But I stood straight. Shui Wei stood in front of me, tilting her chin up to look at my face. She was a full head shorter. Those blood-red eyes reflected me back, bloody, wrecked, but standing straight. "So how does it feel? Being enslaved?" She asked it like a cat playing with a mouse. I didn't answer. I looked at my hands, still shaking. The healing seal was wearing off slowly, but that hollowed-out feeling still clung to me. "I'm talking to you." She stepped forward and poked my chest with one finger. "Does it hurt? Are you dizzy? Feel like throwing up?" I raised my eyes and looked at her. The look I gave her could have killed. She flinched a little, but pushed it down fast. She was the master now. I was the slave. No matter how strong I was, I had to obey. "Kneel," she said. I didn't move. She blinked, frowned. I said, "Kneel." "Are you deaf?" I still didn't move. Just stood there, staring down at her. Her face changed. She reached into the connection, that seed planted deep inside my soul. It was there, glowing gold, waiting. She activated it. Pain exploded in my skull, like someone shoved a red-hot wire through my temple and stirred. My whole body went rigid, veins popping along my forehead, teeth grinding so hard they cracked against each other. But I didn't kneel. I clenched my jaw and held. Both legs locked to the ground like they were nailed there. She pushed harder. This time the pain spread everywhere, a million needles stabbing into every inch of skin, every muscle, every bone at once. My body started shaking. My knees wanted to buckle, but I fought it, held. I saw something flicker across her face. Something soft, but she crushed it immediately. Kneel. Third time. Voice cold as ice. She hit me with continuous, soul-burning pain. My body was a bow pulled past its limit. Every muscle fiber screaming. Sweat rolled off my forehead, mixing with blood, dripping into the sand. I'd bitten through my lip. Blood leaked from the corner of my mouth. I didn't make a sound. My mind was flickering in the storm of pain like a candle in a hurricane, almost going out. But in that tiny flame, my brain was still working. It hurt. It hurt so goddamn much. But I had to endure. Even if I died, I would not kneel. And while the pain was tearing me apart, I was thinking, forcing myself to think through the agony. The clone was still out there. That was my only card left. Even if this body died, I'd resurrect through the clone. 30 days later, I could split off a new one. But here was the problem. If this body died right now, sure, I'd be free of her control. I'd come back through the clone. But the moment I started clearing rifts again, the Blood Flame King would know I wasn't dead. He'd figure out I had some kind of clone ability. My biggest secret would be exposed. I wasn't anywhere near strong enough to fight the Blood Flame King. He could crush me with one finger. I knew almost nothing about Tier 2 planets. Nothing about what weapons they had, what tricks they could pull. I knew too little about this entire part of the universe. But if I stayed in this body, if I pretended to submit, followed Shui away to Blood Flame Star, I'd learn everything. Their weaknesses, their resources, their secrets, the whole layout of this star system. And here was the real kicker. They wanted my talent. A level 20 with 62 trillion HP. Someone who killed a level 90. They wouldn't waste that. They'd do everything they could to make me stronger, because they needed me strong. They needed me to help Blood Flame Star reach Tier 3. They'd pour resources into me. Let me level up. Let me climb higher towers. Let me collect more passives. My power would snowball. They thought they had total control over my life and death. They had no idea this body could die and I'd just wake up in another one. Free, unshackled, with everything I'd learned. So I'd use them. Let them train me. Let them feed me resources. Let them build me into something unstoppable. And when I was strong enough to swat the Blood Flame King like a bug, this body could be thrown away. I'd resurrect through the clone, come back, and erase Blood Flame Star from the universe. Shuewei stood watching me take 3 rounds of soul-burning torture without making a single sound or dropping to one knee. Her face went a little pale. Not from fear, from shock. She'd seen slaves on Blood Flame Star get punished with soul burning. They screamed like slaughtered pigs. Some went insane. Some kowtowed until their foreheads split. Some cried for their mothers. I hadn't made a sound. She pulled the pain back, stepped away, looked at me. I was still standing, drenched in sweat, lips chewed to ribbons, temple veins still throbbing, but standing. You. She opened her mouth, then closed it. A few seconds of silence. Then a sigh. You are impossibly stubborn. She pulled out a handkerchief and held it toward me. Wipe your sweat. I didn't take it. She stuffed it into my hand, then turned around and faced the distant snow mountains. I know you hate me, she said quietly. So quiet it almost got lost in the wind. But you need to understand. If you don't come with me, someone else will come for you. Other Tier 2 planets. Forces 100, 1,000 times stronger than me. They'll use worse methods. Crueler tools. You won't even get a choice. She paused. At least I offer you a handkerchief. I looked down at it. White. A little flower embroidered in the corner. Neat stitching. Faint smell of perfume. I didn't wipe my face. Just held it. Didn't move. She waited, heard nothing, and turned back around. Why aren't you wiping? I didn't answer. I raised my head and looked at her. You want me to go with you? Yes. Where? Blood Flame Star. To do what? Level up. Get stronger. Help me conquer worlds. She said it like it was the most obvious thing ever. Your talent is wasted on Blue Star. I was quiet for a few seconds. And then, she tilted her head, thinking. Then you help Blood Flame Star reach Tier 3. And I make you second in command. One person above you, everyone else below. Her eyes were practically glowing, like she could already see that future. Not a bad deal, right? You're a slave now, but if you behave, I'll treat you well. Once we hit Tier 3, I'll give you your freedom. I looked at those shining eyes and laughed inside. Cold. Freedom? Once I actually helped her reach Tier 3, would she let me go? Never. A slave who could break the rules of the universe was more valuable than any treasure. She'd hold on to me forever. This life, next life, always. But I didn't say any of that. I just nodded. Okay, she froze. She hadn't expected me to agree that easily. A minute ago, I was enduring soul torture rather than kneel. And now suddenly, okay? She stared at my face, trying to read something in my eyes. But there was nothing to read. Those eyes were too deep. Like a bottomless well where you drop a stone and never hear it land. You really agree? She sounded suspicious. Yeah. No takebacks? No takebacks. She stared at me for several seconds, then broke into a smile. Like a little girl who just got a brand new toy. Eyes curved into crescents, lips pulled up, two little fang teeth showing. I knew you'd say yes. She clapped her hands and circled around me, looking me up and down. Don't worry, I won't treat you badly. Blood Flame Star has the best resources, the best equipment, the best items. Whatever you want, I'll get it for you. She stopped in front of me, looking up with pure excitement on her face. But you have to listen. Whatever I say, you do. I say east, you don't go west. I say chase the dog, you don't chase the chicken. Can you do that? I looked at her. 1 second of silence. Yes, she got even happier. Rose on her tiptoes and patted my shoulder. Good. Starting today, you're mine. Then she remembered something. The smile dimmed, replaced by a sheepish expression. Sorry about hurting you earlier. I didn't want to make you uncomfortable. Her voice got tiny. But you were so stubborn. I had no other way. I said nothing. She looked up at me, and in those blood-red eyes, there was actually a hint of guilt. If you behave from now on, I won't do that again. Deal? I looked at that face, pretty, delicate, trying to look apologetic and sweet. Deal? She smiled wider than before. She grabbed my hand and started pulling me toward the rift in the sky. Come on, come on. Let's go? Father must be waiting. She dragged me forward. My steps were clumsy. The healing seal still hadn't fully worn off. My legs were rubber. Every step made my knees wobble. But I kept walking, one step after another. Following her, the rift closed behind us. Blue Star's sky went back to normal. But I wasn't on Blue Star anymore. Blood Flame Star. The sky was dark red. The air smelled like sulfur, and the temperature was at least 40 degrees. The ground was black stone with glowing red veins running through it, like frozen lava. Mountains in the distance had some kind of glowing liquid flowing along their ridges. Stop staring. Walk faster. Shui Wei pulled me along, her red hair streaming behind her. Every soldier we passed dropped to one knee. Hail, princess. But their eyes were all on me. I could hear the whispers. Why does the princess have a man with her? She's holding his hand. She hates men getting close to her. He's not from our planet. Must be from a Tier 1 world. Shui Wei's ears turned red. She yanked me forward even faster. The healing seal had worn off by now. My body was back to normal, strength returned. I slowed my steps on purpose. Princess, you're pulling so hard my hand's going to fall off. Shut up. One more word, and you're walking on your knees. We went through a massive palace corridor and into the Blood Flame King's chambers. He was standing by his throne. The second he saw us, he waved. Into the vault. Stone doors slammed shut behind us. Total silence. The Blood Flame King stared at me, eyes sharp. Is he enslaved? Don't worry, father. Shui Wei raised her hand. A pale purple crystal floated above her palm. I can feel his breathing, heartbeat, and soul waves. His life and death are in my hands. And, she glanced at me, he can't even think about attacking me. Relief washed over the king's face, but he still wasn't satisfied. He pulled out a palm-sized black mirror covered in runes and pointed it at me. Text appeared on the surface. Target. Su Lin, status. Enslaved, enslaver. Shui Wei, enslavement depth. Complete. Backlash possibility. None. He put the mirror away. Then he smiled. Good. Good. He finally let out a breath and sank into his chair. I've been on edge all day, terrified something would go wrong. Then he jumped up, eyes burning as he circled me like I was a prize horse. Daughter, you did well. You're Blood Flame Star's greatest hero. If we reach Tier 3 because of this, your achievement will be greater than our great-grandfather's when he led us from Tier 1 to Tier 2. He kept circling. 100,000 years. Finally a talent like this. With him, we can finally destroy those enemies who wronged us. He laughed, half crazy, half ecstatic, slapping Shui Wei's shoulder. Good, good, good. Shui Wei lifted her chin, looking pretty pleased with herself. The king sat back down, hands still trembling on the armrests. First, we erase his rift-clearing marks, he said. Other Tier 2 planets might have already locked onto him with their tracking compasses. If we don't erase them now, they'll come. Shuewei nodded and pulled out a small bottle filled with silver-white liquid, brighter than mercury. She crouched in front of me and looked into my eyes. Don't move. It'll feel cold. She tilted the bottle. One drop of silver liquid fell onto the top of my head. The second it touched me, my whole body felt like it had been plunged into ice water. Then something started being pulled out of me, thread by thread, strand by strand, slowly and precisely. 10 seconds. Then it was over. She pulled out a round disc and pointed it at me. Runes flickered, then text appeared. Target. Su Lin, rift clearing marks. None, status. Not locked by any tracking compass, she exhaled. Done. Even if other Tier 2 planets have tracking compasses, they can't find him now. The king nodded and pulled out another item. A black talisman covered in runes that glowed dark gold. He handed it to Shuewei. Have him wear this. She turned to me. Put it on. It's a concealment talisman. As long as you wear it, any rifts you clear or realms you beat won't leave marks. No tracking compass will ever find you again. I took it, cold to the touch. The gold runes pulsed against my palm like something alive. I hung it around my neck. The king watched me put it on and nodded with satisfaction. Remember, never reveal your true ability level to anyone. If asked, say your enhancement is 10,000-fold at most. And never mention that you cleared a top 10 difficulty realm. Ever. Understood, I said. From now on, you're the princess's personal guard. He thought for a moment, then pulled 2 pieces of equipment from his spatial ring. These are 2 level 20 eternal grade items. Wear them. I won't give you a weapon. You don't need to attack. I took the armor and put it on. The moment it settled against my body, warmth flooded through me, power flowing into every corner. Level 20 Eternal Armor, Blood Flame Warplate, HP 20 million, Level 20 Eternal Ring, Blood Flame Ring, HP 10 million, Attack 200,000. My panel refreshed instantly. HP shot up to 60.02 quadrillion. Eternal Grade. Shuewei's eyes went wide. She actually stomped her foot. Father, I've never even worn Eternal Grade equipment. I'm still in Mythic Tier. She tugged at her own red armor, face full of indignation. The king waved her off. He's worth it. He's the future of our planet. He deserves the best. What about me? You? He glanced at her. Do something impressive again and we'll talk. Besides, the stronger he gets, the stronger you get. He's yours, remember? Shuewei shot me a vicious glare. I pretended not to notice. Tomorrow, the king said, face turning serious. Take him to the awakening chamber for his second ability awakening. Remember, absolutely no one can know about this. Shuewei nodded reluctantly. And have him stay in the room next to yours, the king added. She blinked. Next to mine? Yes. He looked at his daughter, eyes full of meaning. He's your person. He stays close. That night, I was put in a side chamber next to the princess's quarters. That night, I sat in the courtyard of the side chamber they'd given me, looking up at the sky. Blood Flame Star's moon was purple-red, different from anything I'd ever seen on Blue Star. The air was hot, the stones beneath me still warm from the day's heat, and the dark gold patterns on my new eternal grade armor glowed softly in the moonlight. I wasn't sleeping. Couldn't sleep. Too much to process. What are you looking at? Shuewei walked over. She'd changed out of her battle gear into a dark red outfit, her hair pinned up with a simple clasp. Without the armor and the war princess attitude, she looked almost normal, like a regular girl from next door. The moon, I said. It's purple-red here. Every planet has different skies. She sat down across from me. Just like every planet has a different path to power. She paused, then looked at me with a serious expression. Do you know what they call someone above level 100? I shook my head. The divine gift threshold. The moment you break through level 100, you receive your first divine blessing. Your entire life force undergoes a fundamental transformation. After that, every single level up brings another divine blessing. Your body, your soul, your energy, all of it keeps evolving. But that's not even the scariest part about being above 100. The real problem is level suppression. When a lower level person faces someone higher level, all their attacks and control effects get massively weakened. The specific rule is this: for every level the enemy is above you, your final damage and control duration are reduced by 5%. I understood immediately what those numbers meant. If Shuiwei's voice dropped even lower. If someone is a full 20 levels above you, then she let the weight of it hang in the air. You can't hurt them at all. You can't control them at all. Your attacks hit them like a breeze against a mountain. Your control skills evaporate like dew in sunlight. You're strong right now. Very strong. Her tone carried both respect and a complicated sigh. At level 20, you tanked my rule tier items, killed the level 78 and level 75 fighters I brought, and even forced me to retreat. But against a real level 120? Everything you depend on. That insane HP, that terrifying reflection, all those control skills, none of it would matter. Under the rules of this universe, you couldn't even scratch them. Of course, she added, your HP is so massive that a level 120 couldn't kill you either. I sat there in silence, letting this sink in. A cruel but real law of the universe. No matter how broken my stats were, the rules themselves would neuter me against anyone 20 levels above me. Which meant one thing. I needed to level up. Fast. Not just for my plan to destroy Blood Flame Star from the inside, but because out here in the wider universe, raw HP alone wouldn't save me. I filed every word she said into the back of my mind. Every piece of information about how this universe worked was another weapon for when the time came. Shuiwei didn't know it, but every conversation she had with me was making my eventual escape more certain. She thought she was taming me. She was training the thing that would destroy her. One more thing, Shuiwei said. Father has arranged for you to undergo your second ability awakening tomorrow. She explained how it worked. For most awakeners, the ideal combination was an attack-type ability first and a defense-type ability second. Balanced. Well-rounded. But you're different, she said, looking at me. You've collected so many overpowered skills from clearing all those rifts. Especially your recovery boost and your thorns reflection. They turn your massive HP into the deadliest, most sustained weapon possible. For you, your health bar is your attack bar. So if your second awakening gives you another HP boosting ability, she leaned forward, voice sharp and certain. Even a simple A-rank ability that multiplies your HP by 10 would be worth more to you than an SSS rank attack ability that multiplies your damage by 100. But awakening is mostly random. Bloodline matters. If both parents are top-tier SSS awakeners, their children have a much higher chance of getting SSS abilities. But it's never guaranteed. History has cases of 2 SSS parents producing a child with the worst D-rank trash ability. She looked at me, her tone softening in a way she probably didn't notice. Your first awakening already broke every rule in the book. That kind of luck is once in a lifetime. But this second time, you could still get a useless D-rank ability. Or a high-rank attack ability that does nothing for your build. Everything, until the result is revealed, comes down to fate. Fate, I repeated quietly. Then I looked at her and smiled. Calm. I understand. Thank you for telling me, Princess. She seemed surprised by how calmly I took it. She stood up. Get some rest. Save your energy. I'll be waiting outside tomorrow for the awakening ceremony. Princess, I called out as she reached the courtyard gate. She turned. Moonlight outlined her silhouette. Thank you for telling me all this, I said. And I meant it. Every piece of information she gave me was another tool for later. Her mouth curved up just barely. She didn't say anything. Just turned and walked away into the shadows, footsteps fading. The courtyard went quiet again. I sat on that stone bench for a long time. Deep inside my mind, I opened my panel. Name, Su Lin, level, 20, HP, 60.02 quadrillion. Ability, HP enhanced to billionfold. Skills, 116. Status, soul enslaved. I scrolled through the long list of skills. Shadow Step, Blood Sacrifice, Teleport, Substitute Stone Statue, Bone Spike Fury, Spider Web Bind, Time Slow, Rift Slash. Plus dozens of others I'd picked up from clearing all those rifts. Night Vision, Underwater Breathing, Low-Grade Fire Resistance, and on and on. Every skill had its use, but some were far stronger than others for my build. My eyes stopped on one. Smile of the Luck Goddess, Passive Luck 1. Shuiwei's words echoed in my head. Everything comes down to fate. Fate? My mouth curved up in the shadows where nobody could see. Let's see if this passive could challenge fate. I shifted my consciousness to my clone. Far away, countless light years away, on Blue Star, forgotten by everyone, my clone opened his eyes. The clone shared everything with the main body. All stats, all life force, all senses. In his hand was the dark red stone from the Sandstorm Death Zone, the Furnace Stone. I needed to gamble. I had no other cheat to boost my awakening odds. But I could pour everything into upgrading the Luck Goddess passive and hope it would tilt the second awakening in my favor. Let's go, my main body whispered in the Blood Flame Star courtyard. My clone raised his hand on Blue Star. No hesitation. The first skill chosen, Night Vision, was stripped away and fed into the Furnace Stone. A flash of dark red light. Night Vision dissolved into pure, neutral energy, refined and purified, then poured into the Luck Goddess passive like a stream flowing into the ocean. The description shifted. Luck 1, twisted and became Luck 2. Second skill, underwater breathing. 2 became 3. Third, low-grade poison resistance. 3 became 4. One by one, I fed it the weaker skills. The ones that barely mattered compared to my core abilities. The ones that had helped me survive low-level rifts, but were now outclassed by everything else. They became fuel. Luck climbed steadily. 10, 20, 30, 50. I stayed calm through all of it. Like a master craftsman forging a single perfect blade, cutting away everything unnecessary, keeping only what mattered. The process was silent, invisible, but underneath the surface it was shifting something fundamental, changing the weight of some deep, hidden rule. When the 99th skill, a minor ability called low-grade insight that slightly improved weak point detection, was fed into the Furnace Stone, everything changed. The entire skill description box shattered and reformed. Characters broke apart and reassembled. And when it settled, the text was completely different. Favor of fate, effect, protected by fate itself. Any probability-based event that involves you will automatically skew toward the outcome most favorable to you. The degree of skew depends on the event's base probability and the strength of your desire. I tried to upgrade it further. Couldn't. It had reached its limit. My main body opened his eyes in the Blood Flame Star courtyard. I pulled up my panel again. My skill count had dropped from 116 to just 17. Every single one of those 17 was handpicked. The absolute core of my combat system. No waste. No filler. Perfect. I scanned the streamlined list. Tomorrow, I'd walk into that awakening chamber. Fate. Skewed. I whispered it to myself. The curve of my mouth deepened under the purple-red moonlight. Tomorrow was the awakening ceremony. With favor of fate working behind the scenes, what kind of random result would the universe give me? I couldn't wait to find out. Next morning, purple-red light poured through the palace windows. Knock, knock, knock. I opened the door. Shuewei stood there. No armor. No combat outfit. She was wearing how do I put this? A lacy, revealing dress. She leaned against the doorframe, one hand on her hip, chin tilted up, looking at me like a hunter sizing up prey. Done staring? I pulled my eyes away, kept my face blank. Princess, your outfit today is unique. Unique? She looked down at herself, then back at me with a smirk. You don't like it? I didn't touch that one. She didn't care. Stepped closer, tilting her face up, those blood-red eyes reflecting my face. Father said you need to bathe and change before the awakening ceremony. Keep your body and mind clean. She poked my chest. Did you wash? I stepped back. Yes, just yes. You still smell like blood. Did you even use soap? I did. Then why do you still smell? She leaned in and sniffed my neck. Warm breath on my skin. Ticklish. I took another step back. She looked up, glaring. Why are you backing away? You're too close, princess. So what? She stepped forward. You're mine. I can be as close as I want. I stopped talking. She stared at me for a few seconds, then huffed and turned toward the door. Keep up. Don't dawdle. She walked ahead, the thin fabric floating behind her, her bare back catching the light. I followed, eyes locked straight ahead on the back of her head. She glanced over her shoulder. Why are you so far back? I sped up. Closer. I sped up again. Less than a meter between us now. She nodded, satisfied, and kept walking. The corridor was long. Guards stood every 10 meters. They all dropped to one knee when she passed, heads bowed, not daring to look up. But I could feel their eyes sliding sideways, not at me. At her outfit. She either didn't notice or didn't care. 3 corridors, 2 gardens, and we arrived at the awakening chamber. It was hidden deep inside the palace, the entrance behind a decorative rock formation. Shuewei pressed her hand against a raised stone. It glowed, and the rock split open, revealing a downward passage. The air inside was dry and ancient, like a place that hadn't been opened in thousands of years. At the end, a massive stone door, 5 meters tall, 3 meters wide, carved with runes flowing with dark gold light. Shui Wei pressed a token into the center. The runes blazed to life, and the door slowly swung open. Inside was a small chamber. In the center sat a fist-sized stone, pure silver white, its surface swirling with rainbow light. The Star Source Stone, the treasure Tier 2 planets used for second awakenings. The Blood Flame King was already inside, wearing plain white ceremonial robes instead of his usual royal attire. He nodded when I walked in. His eyes lingered on me for a second, then shifted away. Close the door. Shui Wei shut the stone door. It sealed with a heavy boom. 3 people. Complete isolation from the outside world. The second awakening, the Blood Flame King began, is far more random than the first. Your first awakening was 70% determined by your bloodline and foundation. The second? Less than 10%. The rest is pure luck. In Blood Flame Star's history, among those who awakened SSS tier abilities the first time, less than 1 in 10 managed SSS tier again on the second, Shui Wei muttered from the side. Father, why bother telling him all this? His luck has always been ridiculous, but I noticed her palms were sweating. Fine, enough talk, the Blood Flame King said. He pointed at a groove in the center of the chamber. Step in. I walked over and stood in the groove. He pulled out an ancient scroll and began chanting. The language wasn't Common Tongue or Blood Flame Star's language. Something older, something I'd never heard. Every syllable carried a strange rhythm, like temple bells, deep and far-reaching, echoing through the sealed chamber. The Star Source Stone began to glow. I closed my eyes.